Keith, one-time Thurman.
Robert the Ghost Guerrero.
Adrien, the problem Broner.
John the Gladiator Molina Jr.
Power punchers are born, not made.
I feel great, and I can't wait.
It's going to be a dogfight. I'm going to make it very uncomfortable for him in that ring.
What you'll see is the AB show about billions.
Light 'em up, light 'em up. Light 'em up, light 'em up, light 'em up.
It's a beautiful evening in Las Vegas, Nevada. This is the boxing capital of the world and the birthplace for what many think is the future of boxing. Premier Boxing Champions debuts a multi-fight series to a worldwide audience its officials estimate to be 450 million people coming to you from the MGM Grand Garden Arena. So for wherever you are watching us around the world, welcome. And we welcome you inside the Grand Garden Arena. And we've got a big night of boxing planned. Hi everybody, I'm Dave Bontempo. Welcome to the show and welcome to the series. I'm pleased to be joined by Joey Varner and Daniel Jacobs. Joey has trained MMA fighters like Randy Couture and been a veteran amateur boxer and champion himself. Daniel is the WBA middleweight champion, a name known to all of you. So we have a big night planned to kick off our series, and one of the guys tonight hopes he says it's no problem. That is Adrien, the problem Broner. Adrien Broner, who had a championship taken away, will take on John the Gladiator Molina. You see the records: 29-1, 22 knockouts. And John Molina, 27-5, 22 knockouts. Joey, what about the Broner perspective?
All right, the keys to victory tonight for the problem, 2 words for you: speed and technique. Speed kills, technique prevails. He needs to use that speed both on offense and defense. Make him miss, make him pay. He also needs to use his technique to control the when and the where this fight takes place. He's the faster boxer, he's the more polished boxer. If he stays in control of himself, he'll control this fight, and he will knock out the Gladiator, John Molina.
And I think for the key to success for John Molina Jr. is he has to use his advantage, his size advantage. He has a 4-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach advantage. I think if he follows the same blueprint by implementing that, what Madonna had to have the victory over Adrien Broner, I think he'll be very successful.
And you know, Daniel, what do you think of for Broner? He wanted to emulate Floyd Mayweather and be more of an entertainer, and that went south on him as far as the reactions. From your perspective as a fighter, what would you tell him about trying to channel his energy?
Well, I think there's a time and a place for everything. I think if you're a professional athlete, I think you have to be professional when you go to work. And you can take all that and be who you are, if that's who you are. If that's actually who you are, be that in home, be that with your friends. But when you're a professional environment, you have to be professional.
All right, so that is Broner. And Molina, we're going to have Abner Mares also showcased tonight. Abner Mares, 28-1 and 115 knockouts. Arturo Reyes, 18-4 with 5 knockouts. And Abner Mares has been smarting ever since the loss of his title. Now, what do you guys think of this matchup for these guys?
I'll tell you what, it's obvious here Abner Mares is the favorite in this fight, but Santos, his keys to victory: don't be starstruck. Don't respect the name of Mares. Get in his face early, show him no respect, make it a dirty, nasty, grimy fight, and that's the only way he's really going to be able to win this match.
And I think the keys for success is Abner Mares, he's looking to get right back into that title contention when he lost to Johnny Gonzalez. He's looking to get back, and he's looking to be successful in tonight, and if he can, he's looking to get that victory, he's looking to get right back into title condition with Johnny Gonzalez.
All right, so that's the warm-up and primer for that fight. As you see these guys staring at each other, and here is a look at the good crowd on hand and more people still coming in. Yesterday we had a chance to talk with Abner Mares. Joey Varner caught up with him, and here's Joey with Abner Mares.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Abner, big night for you tomorrow. The biggest stage of your career on NBC. What does it feel like to be a part of such a big event in the debut of Premier Boxing Championships?
Well, it's a dream come true. I'm really blessed. I'm really emotional right now. I'm excited. I'm excited to put on this show. I'm just ready to perform.
I know getting the victory tomorrow night takes you one step closer to that big fight, or that title fight. But what's more important to you? getting the victory or putting on an exciting fight for the fans?
You know what? That's a really good question. You know, I always go in the ring thinking, you know, I'm going to get against my rival, you know, for this matter, Arturo Reyes Santos. But really, my rival to beat is the crowd out there, you know, to get the approval of them. So that's exactly what I have in mind. Just getting their approval, giving an exciting fight, just doing my best and looking for a spectacular knockout. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, look for a spectacular knockout.
I look forward to it. Good luck tomorrow night. Thank you very much for the interview.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, so Abner is looking at us and looking over at Joey. He had that technique down pretty well, and we're looking forward to that fight. And in our first main event tonight, we're going to have a welterweight matchup. Keith one-time Thurman and Robert the Ghost Guerrero, champion, former champion. This should really be an intriguing matchup. Guerrero's been around a long time, very crafty. Thurman, a one-time bomb guy. How about the matchup?
You know what? I really love this matchup. It's a great stylistic matchup. For Keith Thurman, the name of the game is being a master of space and time. Master the space between you, the time it takes to close it. He's looking for that big punch. He needs to use his movement, control the space between them, let Guerrero run into a big punch, and he needs to avoid those tie-ups from Guerrero. Guerrero loves to tie up, and when he ties up, he's busy. He hits your body, he hits your head, he uses his shoulders and elbows. Control that space between them, don't let him close it up, and you'll land that knockout punch.
And I think for Guerrero, I think if he follows the same blueprint when he fought Andre Berto, which is he didn't let Andre Berto come in. He controlled the distance and the space, and he allowed himself to be the aggressor. If he can do that tonight and catch Keith Thurman coming in, because Thurman sometimes jumps in and leaps in.
Leaps in, he does.
And if he can control that or catch Thurman slipping in between that, I think he'll be very successful and shock a lot of people tonight.
All right, he did manhandle Berto. Different scenario here, so it should be interesting how these guys match up. A lot of technique and speed and power. So we're going to take a look at these guys. What about Thurman? What about Guerrero? How about we take a closer look at the guys in this welterweight fight?
We're gonna work all timing today. My grandfather boxed, and my uncles, my brothers boxed.
Nice work, son, nice work.
So I was like, hey man, I want to box too.
Robert was only like 8 years old, and he always wanted to come to the gym with me. And he started hitting the bags, started training on his own. I never told him to train, you know. Good job, mijo. Beautiful. Our blood is very strong. We're Guerreros, you know. Guerrero stands for warrior in Spanish, and that's what we are. We're warriors.
Ben Getty was my original trainer. Ben believed in me before anybody else. He told me and the rest of the world at the age of 14 that this boy will be world champion.
Everybody loved and respected Ben. He's the real reason that Keith is where he is today. So it was quite a blow when he passed away.
Ben said, don't forget where you come from. And I come from St. Pete Boxing.
All right, so there you take a look at the fighters, and what should be a highly anticipated matchup, Thurman and Guerrero. There you take a look at one time, and there is the Ghosts, Robert Guerrero. Two very nice guys, and they're going to discard that when they get in the ring. This is the weigh-in.
Look at that.
Not many incidents, which is good for the veteran fighters. You make your weight.
You know what I love about Guerrero is his last name means warrior, and he represents that warrior spirit. He fights with the warrior spirit. Sometimes it's not the prettiest, sometimes it's not the most polished, but it's always nasty. It's always with bad intentions. And when you're in a fight with Robert Guerrero, win or lose afterwards, you're gonna know you were in a fight.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but warrior doesn't go with ghost.
unless you're the ghost warrior. Look at that. Thurman saying, yeah, get ready to go to sleep for the first time. I love this about this fight, too. A lot of first times. Can Guerrero be the first person ever to beat Keith Thurman? Can Keith Thurman be the first person ever to knock out Robert Guerrero? A lot of questions to be answered tonight.
Something to look forward to, absolutely.
And
There's
look at
a look at some of their action, and there's the one-time shot. You know, Thurman has knocked down guys in 4 straight fights.
But look at that distance there. He hit him with that 1-2, and behind that 30, it was almost a shovel punch. Half uppercut, half hook. He closed the distance behind the punch. The range was right there. And there you see Guerrero just slipping into that hook, make him miss, make him pay. Nasty right hand.
These guys are opportunists. Both of them able at this level of their career to take advantage of mistakes. And for Keith Thurman, you see his last 3 fights. The victory over Leonard Bundu was lopsided, 12 rounds. Quick matter against Julio Diaz, and then the defeat of Jesus Soto Caras, a 9th round action. 24-0, 21 knockouts, and he has been unflappable. And the thing that they're saying about it is, okay, when he moves up to this level, what's going to happen? Can he handle another level up? And that's the beauty of it. So that's Thurman. And for the Ghosts, 12-round unanimous decision back in June. A lot of people say, hey, you don't even count when you lose to Floyd Mayweather. It's just the guy you can't catch up with. And it's a common denominator. And that was an excellent performance against Andre Berto. I was there. He manhandled him. And Berto being a smaller guy.
You know what I loved about this is that leading into this fight, Guerrero was quoted as saying, in regards to Thurman, I'm going to leave his face looking worse than Berto's face. That's a tall order. That's a nasty statement, because Berto looked like he got hit with the ugly stick about 10 times.
Yeah, that was absolutely a brutal fight for both guys, but absolutely Berto took the worst end on that one.
And, you know, a timing mechanism here. Guerrero says that his career has been like Disneyland because his wife was able to overcome leukemia. And he had such battles there watching her that he said, my life is Disneyland. Well, guess what? We have some kind of Disneyland features here. Look at this. 27 cameras in MLA sound quality. 10 individual screen surfaces surrounding the arena. You've got a wall of thunder. 3 screens. 72-foot wide electronic vista, not to mention the Ring of Honor that's 75 feet in diameter by 8 feet high. The scoreboards, you're looking at 4 screens, high definition LED technology, and 2 curved tail the tape screens. So a lot of technology coming in there. 400 computer lighting instruments and a partridge in a pear tree. Just about everything.
Looking at this looks like a ride at Disneyland, man. This is incredible.
There's really something about the special effects and technology brought into it. And, you know, we have been able to find out that as this series goes along, not only the visual effects here, but technology advancements starting next week and things like sensors in the gloves.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to be able to find out the speed of the punch and have that measured. So the idea is, hey, you'll know who the hardest punchers are, and you'll know who the great individuals.
Are.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
fastest and hardest. So it's all coming together, and you see that. Well, they couldn't go all the way unless they did the Hans Zimmer angle here. You remember him, the famed composer for matters like the Lion King, you name it. And he's a big boxing fan as well. So let's take a closer look at what Hans Zimmer has brought to the table here.
I grew up knowing who Ali was. I knew who the great fighters were. There was a great tradition of that. They were our heroes when we were kids. And slowly I'd moved out of our focus, and I thought I wanted to be able to tell those stories again. I wanted to go and write music that honored them. My name is Hans Zimmer. I'm a film composer. I have done things like Gladiator, The Rock, Thelma and Louise, Lion King, Batman, Dark Knight, Inception, Interstellar, Last Samurai, and if you look at my list, you can see that I probably don't get out much. But that's my life. I love doing music. Wouldn't trade it for anything else. Okay, you're being too polite.
Yeah.
What do you? Just move him off his feet. I just think there's a sound, you know, when the fist connects. No drummer can do that. You know, I mean, they're just wimping around on their kits. So I'm not using drums, I'm using fists hitting flesh. What we want to do is we want to create an experience where the audience feels what that's like. I'd love the audience to feel what it sort of feels like to be on the other side of that. important to write, a heroic theme. Heroism, that's not necessarily happy. I mean, there has to be tragedy in it. There has to be struggle in it. There has to be heartache. There has to be heartbreak in it. There has to be an epic journey.
The music is going to drive the emotion unlike we've ever seen in the sport of boxing. And we, along with the fans, eagerly await the sound of the opening bell.
Hans Zimmer, over 150 films, but he's into boxing here, and a great thing with the loneliness of combat. Put to music as we get ready for Molina and Broner.
I'll tell you what, you know what the coolest thing about that Hans Zimmer lead-in right now is that Hans Zimmer, one of my favorite soundtracks he scored was Gladiator. And as we see now, the Gladiator, John Molina, makes his way into the arena, makes his way into the cage, makes his way to go to war just like a gladiator would. What a coincidence. Oh, that's just awesome.
Yeah, that's a wonderful touch. I mean, when you see the guy that did the Crimson Tide, Lion King, Gladiator, and he's a big fan of Muhammad Ali. So
who is it though, right?
Yeah,
who is it?
But to see it spread across into a composing film angle like that is really something. And of course, Germany, the home of Max Schmeling. So yeah, the adoration of Ali.
I'll tell you what, just watching him, watching how he entered the ring, watching how he entered the arena. He made his way into the ring. When he gets in the ring, he faces the crowd. He pumps his arms in the air. He looks like he's ready for war tonight.
Way to the ring, Adrien, the Problem Broner.
And here is the Problem. Not exactly a shy guy. Very nice kid. You sit and talk to him just one-on-one. And the showmanship is where he is decided to embrace himself and try to take it to another level.
You know what's interesting is leading up to this fight, he made a couple comments about wanting to change his image, wanting to go from the bad boy to the role model. But the thing is, a lot of those bad boy antics, they kind of fuel his in-ring persona as well. So I'm wondering, first of all, can he truly embrace this role as a role model? And second, if he does, how will that affect his performance in the ring?
It'll be interesting to see. Adrien Broner is a very wise, smart young man. I know him personally. He's a good kid. I'm looking forward to him turning his life back around, and I'm looking forward to him to being this role model that he wants to be.
All right, so there is the Problem. He was a champion until it was taken away by Marcos Maidana, and that eliminated an imminent pay-per-view event in which he was going to headline it. So the Maidana loss derailed that. And here he is. There is the Problem, 25 years old, 7 years younger than Molina. Molina with a height advantage and the reach the same. So it's the height for Molina. Is he able to utilize that against a very good counterpuncher? How do the rules stack up here in Nevada? No 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. In case of an accidental foul, you go to the scorecards at the end of round 4. And if it's beyond 4, you'll have some kind of a decision. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round, and they are the unified rules of boxing.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the MGM Grand Garden Arena here in Las Vegas, Nevada. NBC Sports is proud to present Premier Boxing Champions. This bout is brought to you by Gruesome Promotions and presented by Corona Extra La Cerveza Más Fina. Presenting the judges, Bert Clements, Patricia Morse-Jarman, and John McKay. And the referee, Robert Bird. All right, fight fans, here we go. It's our first main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing in the junior welterweight division. Presenting in the red corner, wearing gold trunks with the black trim, from Covina, California. His record, 27 wins, 5 losses. losses with 22 knockouts. Please welcome John the Gladiator Molina Jr. And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner, entering the ring wearing black trunks with the leopard trim, hailing from Cincinnati, Ohio. His record stands 29 wins, 1 loss, 1 no decision. He has 22 big wins coming by way of knockout. Here is Adrien, the Problem Broner.
The only thing I'm going to tell you now, when I say stop, that's what I mean. I want you to stop whatever you're doing, give me a clean break. Protect yourself at all times, obey my commands at all times. I want you to fight clean, fight competitively, fight professionally. Mr. Molina, Mr. Broner, gentlemen, let's do this.
All right, so Robert Byrd has laid down the law for these guys. Of course, they discuss it in the locker room. Any possibilities and problems beforehand. There is the problem. Adrien Broner won a title a few years ago, made a lot of defenses in his native Cincinnati. And here we come with Molina Jr. with some height. So that's going to be, Danny, that's the thing he's really have to utilize.
Absolutely. That's the one key that he has over Adrien Broner. He has the physical ability, the height, the range. And if you use that effectively, I think he'll be very successful and might score an upset.
But he has to do a lot of double jabbing here.
And here's where the problem is being able to use those effectively against a guy who's so slick, who's so quick. Look how fast that jab came out. He's given up 2 inches of reach, and he's touched his chin twice with that lightning jab. So the thing that beats speed, though, is timing. Molina needs to utilize his timing to implement his other strengths, his size and his length advantage.
Dave Bontempo, Joey Varner, and Daniel Jacobs with you. Our opening bout here with Broner trying to stalk and Molina trying to get his range on the outside. Now, Daniel, we talk about the jab as the hook gets in from Broner. It really is discouraging, right, for a smaller fighter. If you're the taller fighter and the smaller guy starts out jabbing you.
Yeah, it really is discouraging because as the bigger guy, especially with the longer reach, that's your advantage. And if the other guy is doing it, the smaller, shorter guy, if he's using that to his advantage, then there's a problem.
No, you know, we were talking a little bit earlier about the Jose Benavidez Jr. fight versus Herrera, and Benavidez got a controversial decision, but Benavidez is a guy who's so long, so strong, and his jab is so fast and stiff, but he was getting out-jabbed by the shorter, less rangy fighter in Herrera, and we're already seeing the speed advantage of Adrien Broner here. Quick with that jab, boom, quick with the hook off it, just touch, 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 keeping that in his face. This is the fight he has to fight if he wants to walk away with the W tonight.
Broner coming off a win against Emmanuel Taylor in his last bout back in September of 2014. And Molina with a loss to Soto in November here at the MGM. With Broner, see a lot of theatrics, but he channels everything. He's got the blinding speed, and he's got inclinations defensively of trying to mimic Floyd Mayweather, his mentor and friend, with the shoulder roll and trying to be so elusive defensively.
No, you hit the nail on the head there. We've seen glimpses. We've seen glimpses of greatness from Adrien Broner. We just haven't seen the full spectrum. We haven't seen him put it all on display. And on this stage, on this night, this is when he needs to showcase some skills. Because look, Mayweather and Pacquiao, they're stepping down. And we need to see who the heir apparent will be. Adrien Broner's in a great position to pick up the torch and run with it.
Okay? Be careful, though. You know what I'm saying? If he throw that right hand again,
Danny, how'd you score that round?
I gave that round to Adrien Broner. Even though it was a very inactive round for both guys, I do think Adrien Broner landed the more effective shots to give him the slight victory over this round.
You know, one thing I didn't like from Molina was he let Broner dictate the pace. He let him establish his speed, his rhythm, and he really didn't answer with anything serious in this. He needs to start earning that respect of Adrien Broner, or else we're going to see rounds like this where Broner's getting more fluid, more comfortable, and he's going to start putting together punches and bunches, setting up these combinations.
Into round 2, Adrien Broner, John Molina Jr. Broner 29-1, 22 knockouts. Native of Cincinnati, and Molina is 27-5, based in Covina, California. Now with Broner, you have to try to make him uncomfortable. If he settles into a groove, he could be really tough.
See, here's the problem right here. There's a lot of posturing. He's reactive right now. He's responsive. He's not the first to get off.
Oh, yeah.
He needs to take advantage. He's longer. You see, he threw that jab, but he brought that jab right back to his waist and then put it up. Adrien Broner's going to counter with an overhand right every time off that. One of the things, you know, we talked about the Maidana fight and Molina implementing the blueprint that Maidana set. But another thing, if you remember in the Emmanuel Taylor fight, Taylor was effective at range early in the fight using a long, stiff jab, and Molina has that tool in his arsenal. He just can't do this. He can't stand and wait. He has to fire it. He almost looks like he's waiting to get hit.
Yeah, he has to be a dog inside that ring. He has to go for it. Whether or not he gets hit in the process, he has to actually, like I said before, follow the Maidana blueprint. And Maidana was not afraid to get in there and get hit, even if he got hit 2 or 3 times, to give his one shot.
All right, so for Molina, he attempts to do the double jab, but it is Broner beating him to that. And Broner in a major comfort zone. And what he does, tries to break you down this way, and then lands some power shots there on the inside. When Molina was off balance, he got hit. Referee talking to both fighters about the headbutts. Came in at an awkward angle there.
Right now, Molina is reactive. If he wants to earn the respect of Adrien Broner, he has to be proactive. He has to be busy. He has to initiate. He has to be the one backing up Broner. And as you see, Broner's backing him up. Broner's having his way. He's setting the rhythm. He's dictating the tone right now.
There's a leaping right hand here by Molina as he tried to get behind the Broner jab, as Broner put it out there and didn't bring it back.
You hear this is Molina's house. You hear the boos when Adrien entered the arena, when he steps in the cage. You hear when the referee broke the action.
And you know, the headbutting, Daniel, they're fighting for position in there.
Absolutely, they're fighting for position because Adrien Broner understands that positioning is everything. So with that widespread distance that he has, he's in a perfect angle to hit, and not get hit.
That's what we talked about in our keys to victory, is making him miss and making him pay. Hit and not get hit.
5 seconds.
Here we see some nice action here. We see Molina finally opening up. He brings it inside. He lands a nice uppercut, using his head in there, making it grimy. And I'll tell you what, though, that's the kind of fight Maidana fought, but the referee doesn't seem like he's going to let him fight this night. That's one thing that always worries me. Who's the referee, and will they let you fight your fight? Molina needs to make it a nasty fight. He needs to grind inside there with his head, use it to control it, and beat on the body and the head in the tie-up.
And we start round 3, Adrien Broner and John Molina Jr. Adrien Broner has been able to get inside the Molina jab and counterpunch, get there first. And that's a major key for him. And Daniel, when you see the bobbing and weaving. You see Broner getting down low. What is he doing, and what is Molina should be doing in counter?
Well, when he's seeing Adrien Broner crouch and stepping in slowly, he should actually go forward. He shouldn't allow Adrien Broner to use a stiff jab to keep him back. He's the bigger guy. He should impose that size advantage on him. And it seems as if he has a speed issue.
Good jab by Broner. Double jab, you get a close-up look. The shoulder up high there. He's trying to make a defensive move. Of course, there's only one Floyd Mayweather, but you're going to inspire imitators.
You can see the speed of Adrien Broner is frustrating Molina. He's not quite flinching, but he's almost flinchy reacting. He's almost closing his eyes and blinking, kind of looking away, because he hasn't adjusted to that speed. Big overhand right.
Big overhand right by Molina, and that's exactly what he needs to do. He needs to take chances to throw big right hands like that, like he just landed a great right hand.
And well said, Daniel. Take the chances, because this is a fight in which if he doesn't take the chances, he'll get outpointed and eaten alive by the speed of Adrien Broner.
With great risk comes great reward. And you know what they used to say, the gladiators going out in the battle? Either come back with your shield or on your shield. That's the kind of mentality he has to have in this fight with Adrien Broner.
And of course, the question for him, though, can he do the execution? There's two good right hands.
Two big overhands
by Molina.
You know what I loved about that? He landed that first one, and instead of throwing the left hook after, he doubled it up. Not a lot of people are used to seeing that same side double up punch, so the opening was there for him to land that shot again.
Tell you what, he landed two very good shots, and Broner took it.
Yeah, he took it very well. It seems to me if he can take these shots and still be effective, he'll be very, very, very successful in this fight. But once again, there's always that equalizer that John Molina always has.
Well, that was the best offensive sequence by Molina as we come to the end of what was a fiery round 3.
And here we go. We see that boom, that first overhand, and there he doubles it up, and he almost tripled it up by throwing that inside uppercut. Didn't necessarily hurt Broner, but it definitely let him know, hey, I'm a dog in this fight, and I'm coming to bite. I'm not backing down. And look at the look he made. Broner made this kind of look like a smart look, but it's more like, they always say, when you say no, you shake your head no, it really means you're saying yes, and that look said it all for me.
We start round 4, first bout tonight. Premier boxing champions Dave Bontempo, Joey Broner, and Daniel Jacobs with you here from the MGM in Las Vegas, Nevada. Broner, who has gotten the quick jump, been a champion down at 130 pounds and 135 pounds, skipped 140, and then went up and captured a 147-pound championship, that against Paulie Malignaggi. Daniel, there was a lot of momentum in that short sequence by Molina. Now, what about the time between rounds? A chance to reset for Broner, and the idea for Molina, he's got to try to parlay.
Well, that's the thing. He can't let Adrien Broner get the advantage. He can't let him get into a rhythm. He has to frustrate him. He has to make him very uncomfortable and continue that each and every round, so he doesn't get into so Adrien Broner doesn't get into a comfortable rhythm. Because once he is in that rhythm, it's almost impossible to stop him.
Yeah, it's hard to disrupt a man's rhythm, especially when he's been effective with it, especially when he's established his weapons and he's landing them repeatedly. But one thing I'm noticing, and it's a slow process, watch Molina here. He's starting to get the timing down of Broner. He doesn't have it yet, but he's not as flinchy, he's not as reactive, and he's answering back off those jabs of his own. If he can get his timing, he can start landing his greatest tool, which is power punches.
All right, so we'll monitor that timing aspect. Broner, the jab to the head, then the body. And Molina crowding forward, trying to get that right hand in again. And Broner kept him off with a double left hook and then a short right hand. See the low left hand of Broner. Trying to throw the up jab.
Sometimes Adrien Broner paused with his jab. Just get it out there just a little bit, just to show his opponent and get him focused on it so he can focus on other punches. It's a great move for Adrien Broner.
Now when he puts it out there, Daniel, and he leaves it there, trying to set a trap, right?
Absolutely. He's trying to set the trap for just like that. John Molina to throw the open hand right there. He can slip out or counterpunch.
Another thing he likes to do with it is as he paws and paws, if you stop respecting the paw and the punch that comes after, from that, he throws another stiff jab from right there and goes back to the original weapon. So it creates a threat for the weapon, and then if you don't respond to it, he utilizes it again.
Keep your head up.
Well, you have to have the speed to be able to get away with that when you set those traps, and Broner certainly has shown that as we come to the end of round 4.
Here we go. There you see, and there's that stiff left jab. Quick, straight down the pipe, right on the forehead, which is a great place for Molina to take it. You know, I'll give Molina credit because that jab will do a lot more damage if it's on his nose or his chin. But taking it to the top of the head could actually break the hand of Adrien Broner.
Don't let a one-hand fighter beat you. We can not let no one-hand fighter beat us. You hear me? All right, let's go. Don't throw that flag.
Here we go. Here we see Molina opening up finally, and that's him just getting reckless. He's just leaping in there with bad intents, just trying to land something, showing no respect, beating Broner to the punch. But that last punch clipped him in the back of the head, and sometimes are the most dangerous shots.
Into round 5 we go. We talked about Broner having won his championship. Molina Jr. is 32. Won his first 18 fights and then lost in 2009 to Martin Honorio. And then he won 6 more, sandwiched around that. Losses to DeMarco, Matisse, Humberto Soto. So he just hasn't been able to get over the top that final time in that elite level.
You know what? He might have lost that Matisse fight, but I'll tell you what, we as fans all won. That was one of the most, that was fight of the year, one of the most exciting fights I'd seen in a long time. So even though it's a loss on his record, as a fan, I can't really count it as a loss.
And having the pleasure to call that fight myself, I thought it was an absolute pleasure, and it was a great honor to call that fight. It was definitely fight of the year.
Let me ask you this, Danny. Do you feel like Molina's back's up against the ropes right now? He's dropped his last 2 fights. He's fighting an uphill battle right now. Is this kind of a do-or-die situation for him?
Well, he's the type of fighter that's always exciting, and those type of fighters, they never have a last chance. You know, they always have an opportunity because the fans love him. And if he can put on a great performance today, even if he loses, I think it'll be great for him in his career because they always want to see people with good heart.
What a showcase opportunity for him and for Broner, who believes that this vehicle of the series can be a nice way forward for him. There's a good left hook by Molina Jr. Catching Broner, the right hand just missed by inches. You know he'll go back to that soon. And you talked about the timing that Molina was trying to get on Broner, and he got even closer there.
As this fight progresses, every second that ticks off this clock, Molina's getting a little more comfortable. He's starting to open up. And with a guy like him, it only takes one.
And Broner is going to play into this opportunity by leaving the left hand out there, trying for the trap, and daring Molina to outpower him and outquick him.
Molina says, come on, let's go, let's do this.
Good round so far.
One thing I'd like to see more of Molina doing is, I love the center of the ring, but the center of the ring is really Broner's domain. He controls this there. I'd like to see Molina bully him more to the ropes. Keep his back against the ropes. That's where you can put those body and head combinations together. That's where you can really use your size and your strength to your advantage.
Left hook by Broner as we come to the end of the round, and a good right hand by Molina, and there is the blueprint for this fight right now. The big right hand versus the left hand of Broner.
And you see as Broner walks away, he shakes his head no, but like we already said, that usually means yes. And here we go. We see Molina tying up on Broner. And even though he's tied up, look at that beautiful right uppercut on the inside and pulls right out of the left hook of John Molina. And here comes John Molina saying, hey, you got one, I got one of my own. Big right hand, buries his head in the chest. Molina was great this time. As they started trading, he kind of slammed his gloves together and says, come on, let's do this. He wants a war. He wants a dogfight. If he can get Broner to engage, to step into the ring with him and fight that kind of fight, that's his advantage.
Well, boxing is a sport that draws celebrities to ringside, and Denzel Washington, one of the celebs here tonight. Big boxing fans. So here we are, continuing along, the drama building up as we are into round 6. Adrien Broner and John Molina Jr., Dave Bontempo, Joey Varner, and WBA middleweight champion Daniel Jacobs with us here.
Again with that nice inside uppercut from Broner. He's doing a great job as that Molina closes that distance and bull rushes in. Broner's taking that little half step back and letting him run right into that right uppercut.
And it's all set up because Adrien Broner is sitting back on his back foot, and that gives him the position to be able to punch and move at the same time. But it's also giving him that power when he sits down on that back foot.
Right.
Now, how about his balance when he's doing that?
Well, that's the problem. That's the issue. John Molina isn't doing enough pushing him back to be able to disrupt that flow. He needs to be able to get Adrien Broner to move a little bit more so he can push him on the ropes and have Adrien Broner squared up.
You keep that weight on that back foot there, and it's almost like you got the gun cocked, the hammer of the gun cocked back. But when they're in that position, if you press forward and they lean back, suddenly all their weight is behind that back leg. They're off balance, and they're really not in position to do much. Molina needs more pressure to put Broner in that position.
Now, Daniel, what is stopping Molina from throwing the double jabs? He's throwing a few nice big shots here, but setting it up with the double jab, we talked about his reach advantage in here tonight, not using that via the double jab in this strategy.
He's not been able to be effective because Adrien Broner is very reactive, and every time he jabs, Adrien Broner moves, he feints, he actually gets Molina confused. So the fact that he can't double jab is solely because Adrien Broner is so slick and so very powerful.
And you see him again right there, Broner going back to that jab, just touch, pop, just keep it in his face, touch him lightly, snap his head back. The variance and rhythm of the jab is also very effective.
And Broner with a nice spurt here, and then the jab downstairs, showing a variety pack to Molina. Molina had some opportunity there to fire the right hand, but did not want to pull the trigger, and then the left hook dies on the gloves of Broner.
Now, Dave, I just recently heard John Molina's corner say 30 seconds. Now, this indicates to me that the last 30 seconds of the fight, he wants to pressure on, of the round, he wants to put on that pressure so he can either steal the round or catch him coming in.
Yeah, I like the steal the round idea. Sugar Ray Lenton, who's here tonight, and great at doing that.
The question with that technique for John Molina, is it too little, too late by the time that 30 seconds comes up? Here we got some nice action again. And there you see Broner touch with that jab, fire that cross, hit him with another two-piece, slip, and even when he ate that left hand of Molina's, he's still rolling. You see him turn his head with it. Brilliant defensive fighting. There he goes, turns with it again, turns with it, angles out. I tell you what, man, Adrien Broner, offensively and defensively speaking, is a beautiful boxer.
Oh, he has to do.
Excuse me, let me rephrase that. He boxes beautifully. Yeah, you hit the nail on that. He has the goods. How do you have the score, by the way?
I have Adrien Broner winning the fight. I think John Molina might have won 2 rounds, in my opinion.
I might have given Molina 1 round.
As we start round 7, Adrien Broner, John Molina Jr. Talking about scoring, here are the punch stat numbers. That's Broner 100 for 236. And Molina 29 of 128. So the numbers also supporting Broner being ahead on the scorecards. And we talk about his defense. We've only allowed 29 punches landed through 6 rounds. It's a very good statistic for him.
And you know what, not just that, to only allow 29 while landing 100, because when you're punching, you're also the most vulnerable to get hit. So, I mean, that's just boxing brilliance right there.
Jab and then a hook, looking for his next opportunity. And Molina, the perfect compatible partner for him that way, stylistically, because he keeps coming.
You know, when I was a kid, I had a boxing coach that used to tell me it's all about the educated left hand. Go to the head, go to the body, throw the hook, feint this, go back to that body. The level changes and the variance of that left hand, they make it so hard. Just he did it again, to the head, to the body. Make it so hard to get a response from your opponent.
And it also keeps you at bay. So every time Adrien Broner moves, he jabs and then hits with that stiff jab to the body to avoid John Molina from coming and rushing in.
Firing back.
Indeed.
One thing that we have noticed throughout this, that we have seen a more quiet and controlled Broner. We haven't seen the antics and the theatrics that have backfired against him in recent fights. So he has taken, to this point, the business-like approach that he said he would coming in.
And that's exactly what he needs to do. He doesn't need to focus on any antics. He needs to focus on getting the job done. He can still look good and still look pretty as he wants to, but do it in a more professional way of getting it done, opposed to going crazy with all the antics.
Daniel, what do you think about with the shoulder roll that we're seeing from Broner, and of course with Floyd Mayweather championing? How do you beat a guy doing that? What is the technique to get around that?
You almost have to be like a novice boxer. And I say that because most novice boxers, they aren't smooth, they aren't crisp, and they aren't the most talented guys, but they're rough and rugged, and they get punches from bunches from everywhere. And most likely, they'll land a shot that the slick boxer aren't used to. They're coming from awkward at different angles.
You know, it's funny you bring that up, because a great example of someone beating that style was Guerrero versus Berto. Berto was doing the shoulder roll. He was doing the pull, the tuck behind. But Guerrero fought that fight. It was almost a rugged, amateur-esque fight. But in order to fight that fight, you need a referee that will let you fight that fight. And our ref tonight breaks the action quick.
Lots of action still to come here at the MGM Grand Arena. Coming up next on NBC Sports, Premier Boxing Champions will present
At this point, I really feel like Molina needs something big. He needs to kind of, he needs to throw caution to the wind and really come out guns a-blazing. And here we see again, boom. Nice overhand right, and then like you said, steps off, uppercut, steps off, jab in the face, feints the uppercut, throws the hook, steps off. He's busy with his feints, busy with his angles. After he finishes his punches, he's never in front of Molina for Molina to answer. There's a term that I use, sell out. What they mean, that doesn't mean quit. It means just don't let it all go. Don't bad intentions, chasing. Reckless abandon, just do what you have to do. This is the point in this fight that Molina needs to start selling out if he wants to win.
And we move along, Adrien Broner and John Molina Jr. Although Molina has had some moments, some good right hands that got in there, and he had the fight where he wanted to at certain points. That has all gone away. And it is Broner slipping, scoring, waiting, countering. And he is the one that is sitting nicely in the pocket right now.
Oh, yeah. He's very comfortable, and he's already setting the tone, so it's kind of hard to get him out of that rhythm that he's in. And it's surprising to me, but he's the most aggressive boxer in there tonight.
And this is a guy who plays to a lot of guys early and has been a knockout puncher, but we're seeing a subtle transition for him in the last number of fights where he's throwing more boxing in and not stopping guys.
No, you know what the thing is that's great for the longevity of your career, but you know what they say in boxing, knockout sells. That's what the fans want to see, and if you have the tools to get the job done, get the job done. One thing I'm still seeing from Molina, though, is look, he's finally backed up Broner to the ropes. 3-4 seconds, he's got him, he has him there. That's the first 2 punches in the last 10 seconds he's thrown. You get him against the ropes, you throw caution to the wind. Get reckless, get wild, bang his arms, bang his body, bang his head, show no respect, but you can't sit and wait. You're not going to time this guy at this point. You're not going to out-counter him. He's faster, he's quicker. You have to just get reckless and say, screw it.
Well, everything you said Molina should be doing, Broner took the cue and did it at that moment. So somebody was doing it.
I think he's listening. I think he can hear me. I talk so loud.
And there's more speed from Broner.
At this point, there's only one way to summarize the performance of Adrien Broner, and that's he's putting on a boxing clinic, a sweet science clinic. And there we see the showmanship antics, making faces, dancing, grabbing, pumping.
And not a good reception from the crowd from him. He's trying to be an entertainer and looking for the right way to do it, and that one didn't work for him.
Well, he's ahead in the fight, so he's almost winning every round. He can do it at this point, but even still, he should keep it at a minimum. But when you're up in this fight and you feel very confident, you can do what you want to do.
And he's landing hooks, he's landing jabs, and he is seeing everything in a very good vein here. Everything that is coming to him from John Molina Jr., it's almost coming in slow motion for Broner right now because of the way he's able to react. And it is Molina frustrating.
That referee is no joke tonight.
No, he's letting him know who's in charge in there. And you can see, though, Molina was bullying him with his head again, and I think that's just out of frustration. At this point in the fight, he's getting outclassed, and he's resorting to just getting grinding, getting dirty, doing anything he can. But to go back to the showmanship part of Adrien Broner, I can appreciate a showman, but the greatest way to be a showman is show me your boxing skills. When you're this dominant, let's turn the heat up now. Let's go for broke. You're landing everything you want. Let's create some openings. Let's make him pay. Let's hurt this guy now. That's the greatest show you can sell the fans. Making faces and dancing. No one's buying pay-per-views to see that. They're buying pay-per-views to see you knock someone out. To show that superior boxing skill by putting someone to sleep.
And so the Adrien Broner boxing show, as this one has been termed into, continues into round 9. He is 29-1, 22 knockouts, champion at 135 pounds, champion at 147 pounds, also a champ at 130. So a lot of titles for Broner early in his career. And for John Molina Jr., he's up against a guy who was in his comfort zone.
I want you to look at something in this round. We're 30 seconds deep into this round, and the first 30 seconds of this round have been identical to the first 30 seconds of all 8 rounds. Molina comes out and waits, and while he waits, he allows Broner to do this. Exactly that. Feint the jab, throw the hook, jab to the body, jab to the head, jab, hook, put a combo together. He's giving Broner this opportunity to just tee off on him, waiting. He can't wait out there with this guy. You're giving the fight away. The clock is ticking down.
Now, the other side of that, Daniel, the easier said than done part.
Oh, yeah.
What is the psychology of the fighter getting hit like this, not having his night, 30 seconds, not even able to get off early, And what about that run?
Well, the best quote that I've ever heard a fighter say was Mike Tyson. He said, "Everybody has a plan until you get in there and get hit." You know, so it's kind of frustrating for John Molina Jr. to get in there and get into his rhythm because Adrien Broner is so reactive. He's so fast, and not only is his offense great, but his defense is on point tonight.
Let me ask you this, Daniel. Do you think, though, at this point it's time to not try to get into a rhythm and not try to establish any kind of combinations, establish a jab, and just go for broke, start throwing bad intentions?
Oh, yeah, it's the 9th round. I mean, I think he knows, John Molina knows he's losing on the cards. He obviously knows he needs to win and get a knockout bid.
Robert Byrne trying to take control of the fight his way, telling these guys, the points are going to be taken. Let's keep this clean. And it's Molina backing up here and then starting, and it's a key role played by the ref.
Did you see when the ref was giving instructions to both of them? When the ref looked at Molina, did you see what Broner did? Broner started sticking his tongue out at Molina.
He's almost like the little brother that the mom kind of disciplined both the brothers, and when he's looking like, you know?
Exactly.
So funny.
You got caught.
Exactly.
There's a left hook by Molina. Wild with the right hand. Left hook by Broner. Pretty much doing what he wants here, getting off first, and that's been the theme for Broner, those 3 words, getting off first. Even though he's known as a counterpuncher, right now he's the one setting up the offense.
Again, beautiful inside uppercut on the tie-up landed by Adrien Broner as the round came to an end. Every time. And here we go, some more action from the last round. There you see Molina getting nasty, trying to tie him in. Broner, as he lets him come in, he lands just a beautiful right uppercut, and it snapped back the head of John Molina. The referee telling him, let's make it classy. Now watch what happens as the referee looks to Molina. Oh, we're not going to get a shot of Broner. Oh, we don't get to see it, but he's sticking. Oh, there it is. You can see your corner. He's sticking out. He did it again. Just like you said, the little brother, big brother thing. Mom catches big brother when mom's scolding him. Little brother sticking the tongue out. There it is. Watch, he's gonna look away again. That was funny.
It's almost like he's ready to end it. And by the way, did you know he got detention today, Mom?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so here we are in round 10. Adrien Broner, John Molina Jr., Dave Bontempo along with Joey Varner and Daniel Jacobs.
And Adrien Broner comes out with 3 stiff jabs and land them all. His speed is on point tonight. I'm very impressed with his speed, his distance, and the fact that he's been able to be so effective with his aggression.
But look at it, here we go. We're 30 seconds into the round, and all we've seen is 10, 12 good stiff left hands from Adrien Broner. The first 30 seconds of the round, he sets the tone for the whole round, and he's done it the whole fight.
And that's something, Daniel, the corner can make a difference. It should make a difference. They're noticing something like that and jumping on their guy.
Well, me as a fighter, me and my trainer have a great relationship where if something needs to be adjusted, he screams to me inside the ring and I'm adjusting on site, on point at the very moment. So I don't think there's some type of miscommunication between the fighter, or it's just that he's not comfortable enough with creating that change.
And here's Broner again on the inside. Now, to take it another step, Joey, okay, here's 30 seconds. So you've already forfeited a sixth of the round before you even start. Then you have to be that much better the rest of the time.
And it's not even that you forfeited it. You let the other guy set the tone, dictate the pace. You're reactive, you're responsive. You're almost one step behind trying to play catch up. Trying to, like Daniel was talking about, find your rhythm, but you're dancing to the wrong song. There, did you see that? You see that in the tie-up there. Broner looks over to the corner of Molina, and he starts making comments, talking crap to the corner.
Trying to get everybody off their game. You know, what about for Molina? What about the idea? Is this fight ever set up for him to throw an uppercut stylistically?
Stylistically, no. The uppercut is almost impossible to land because of that shoulder roll that Adrien Broner has. He's almost perfected it, and the fact that Molina loops his punch when he throws it. It's almost nearly impossible for him to land it, and he hasn't done it tonight.
It almost plays perfectly into the defense of Adrien Broner.
Absolutely, it does.
Stylistically, his defensive system is made perfectly for this offensive system.
Indeed.
Molina tries with the jab in the right hand, and you know he's getting warned because you get frustrated and you get off balance when you're facing somebody who's been as slick as Broner has been in this fight. So as the final seconds tick away, the frustration mounts for Molina, and the showtime aspect continues for Broner.
That last exchange is what John Molina needed to do in round 1, 2, 3, up until this point. That reckless abandon, that brawl, get in his face, make it nasty. That's the Maidana blueprint that he hasn't been following.
We gonna be smart. Don't play into the crowd. Keep boxing. Jab, left hand,
At this
right
point
hand.
of the fight, here we go. Here we look at some action. Again with that stiff jab, right straight down the middle. There's the hook. There's the right hand. Just having his way. He's really putting on a boxing clinic. And you see Molina, he smiles, says, "Come on, let's do this." But it's more out of frustration. It's more of a guy who, honestly, at this point, is just getting outclassed. He brought a knife to a gunfight.
And then it got dull on him. Into round 11, Adrien Broner, John Molina Jr. Broner has had his way. Very good boxing exhibition for him. And Robert Byrd gets more involved. It's interesting that, Daniel, this is a guy who was knocking guys out a lot early and then selling into a different type of persona in the last few fights.
Yeah, absolutely. Adrien Broner realized that, but what he doesn't realize that is not all attention is good. You know, even a bad attention, he thinks it will make him sell or make him bigger than what he is. But his skill speaks for itself. Look at him tonight. He's looking almost perfect. He doesn't have to do all these things outside the ring to be a superstar. He's already a superstar because of his skill set.
He said something interesting this week. He said if he hadn't lost to Maidana, he might be dead by now with all the the distractions outside the ring. And he sort of said it with a little bit of a chuckle. But the idea that he fostered was maybe that the Maidana loss was good for him. That's not easy to sell, but what about it?
Well, you know what I'm wondering more is his quotes coming in this fight about changing his role, being the role model, not the bad guy. And then you see in him, he just unconsciously reverts back to these shenanigans, these antics. The question is that just who he is? Can he ever turn that off?
Sometimes you just are who you are. But needless to say, he's a tremendous athlete. He's a tremendous boxer and true champion.
But let your boxing sell the boxing. You don't need the shenanigans, right?
Well, here is Molina trying that uppercut in tight with the tie-up, and it just glanced off Broner. Now, for Molina, he's got to let everything go. Yet, what about the fatigue factor, and what about the frustration factor in a fighter's head at this stage of a fight?
Well, it doesn't seem to me that John Molina Jr. is fatigued. It just seems like he's very frustrated, and he's almost to a point where nothing is working for him, and he's almost discouraged. But he has the endurance. He looks to be in tremendous shape. It's just that it's not clicking for him tonight.
I'll tell you what else. Look at his face. He's taking a beating now for going on 12 rounds. His face doesn't look bad. I mean, he's not blooded up. His eyes are closed. You know, he looks good considering the amount of damage he's taken. But Daniel, I wanted to ask you a question because Broner has made it apparent that he feels he's the heir apparent to the Mayweather dynasty. What you're seeing from him tonight, do you think he is that man?
I think he's definitely one of the top champions in the whole sport of boxing. He's definitely one of the most elite athletes. We have yet to see who will take over once Mayweather is gone. Excuse me.
There's a left hook by Broner. He's got an opportunity to make his case, but he'll have to get those knockouts you talked about.
Knockout sell fights, baby. Coming in at 12, you have pitching a shutout.
Oh, indeed. I definitely think it's a shutout. I still only gave John Molina 2 rounds. I don't think he's done enough to be able to win a round. I think he hasn't taken enough chances to get lucky, and he needs to get lucky if he's going to do anything. He has the equal hours of power, but if you're not throwing it or if you're not taking chances to throw it, then it gets slimmer, the chances get slimmer and slimmer for you to land it.
As I see Goosen in the corner of John Molina, I think back to another warrior that Goosen worked with, one of my favorite all-time fighters in Diego Corrales, and I think, man, right about now, Goosen needs to give whatever speech he gave to Corrales in that 10th round, because that's the kind of performance Molina needs right now if he has any hope of winning this fight.
Well, Joe Goosen is one of the really smart tacticians and an excellent motivator in the corner. You know that for the most part he's probably told Molina everything he can. With the possible exception of the slow start. Now, we didn't hear everything that he said, but he probably launched on him at some point about that, about the slow start. So here we are in the final round. Adrien Broner, John Molina Jr. It's been mostly Broner, Dave Bontempo, Joey Varner, and Daniel Jacobs here. And Joey,
look at this.
Looks like we're at that 30-second mark again.
Look what happened, though. Broner comes out with the left hand, and right away, Molina opens with the overhand right, tries 2 shots in the body, bullies into the ropes. He's doing in round 12 right now. Look how he's aggressive. He's pressing forward. He's coming forward. He's moving his head. He's backing Broner up. He missed with that big hook, but look, he's being nasty. He hit him behind the head of the tie-up. This is what he needed to do in round 1. This is that Maidana blueprint that Daniel was talking about when we did a Keeps to Victory.
Why can't a guy do it all the way through? Well, what takes it away? He's got it here. He knows he's getting to the final bell, so he's going to pour everything out. But what about those other rounds?
I think it's a mental aspect of it. I think once I said before, he's slowly but surely. In the first round, we seen him slowly, in the first portion of the fight, we seen he was slowly but surely getting frustrated. And we seen that he wasn't able to keep up with Adrien Broner, whether it was his movement, whether it was speed, or even his power. So I think he was kind of banking on this second portion of the fight, and he still hasn't able to make a change.
There's a right hand by Broner, who knows that, in a way, he's fighting downhill now to try to get to the final bell with the big lead. And there's an interesting philosophy as to whether you try to open up and finish a guy or not take chances. Why let him get lucky? The crowd is voicing their opinion as to what they'd like to be seeing.
We got to take that with a grain of salt too, though. This is a Molina crowd.
Molina crowd, and they're not happy that they have seen their guy drubbed.
Drubbed is putting it lightly.
And yeah, he's been trying in this fight. That's the one thing for him. He's tried a lot of things other than the early part of the round, but consistency has eluded him. And coming in, Broner a prohibitive favorite. Molina has not been able to win the fights at this level. And we've seen some indication as to what's been holding him back.
At this point, Broner just seems content to stick and move, to dance, to ride out the clock. Assured with the victory.
If you're in the crowd, it's the sweet science unless your guy is getting beat.
And frustration sets in on the eyes of John Molina as Broner dances around, celebrating in the middle of the round. And Molina kind of stops and drops his hands like, come on, man, at least fight, fight.
Well, to Adrian's credit, Molina did have 11 rounds to do so. He couldn't get the job done. So whether or not Adrien Broner coasts his round, he still was going to get the victory.
Regardless of coasting, masterful performance put on by Adrien Broner.
Indeed.
That was a boxing clinic at its finest. Indeed. Feints, angles, body, head, changing directions, making him miss, making him pay. Brilliant performance.
Hit and not get hit. Final total, Broner 219 out of 502. First of all, an excellent percentage of punches landed, and forcing Molina into 54 of 249. So those are Mayweather-type defensive numbers for Adrien Broner. Broner also with a 141 to 22 jab advantage. So the height for Molina goes against him because of Broner getting a big number like that, and that says a lot, that 141 to 22.
You know what this reminded me of in a weird way? Was the Canelo Alvarez Floyd Mayweather fight, because Canelo came to that center of the ring and he stood and he waited, and he kind of was waiting to see if he could get off. And while he was waiting, Floyd established the jab, he established his rhythm, he set the tone, he set the pace, and as the clock ticked down, he just took the ball and ran with it. And you saw the same thing go down tonight with Adrien Broner and John Molina.
So a guy's effectiveness when he nullifies your aggression will then make you take away your own aggression.
Exactly.
We've seen a very confused John Molina tonight. Wasn't able to get off the shots. Didn't really try because of the confusion. And he lost almost every round.
Yeah, I had 120, 108. I had 12 rounds to none. There was 1 or 2 rounds I maybe could have went Molina's way.
Well, either way, it's lopsided. And for Broner, a good performance in the boxing, and the defensive numbers might end up being the biggest thing for him in this fight, to have basically made a guy miss so often. I'll get the final numbers now.
Las Vegas, how about a big round of applause for these 2 Valiant Warriors? To the scorecards we go. Judge Christopher Morris Jarman and Bert Clements scored about 120 to 108. Judge John Case scores about 118 to 110 for the winner. By unanimous decision, from Cincinnati, Ohio, Adrien the Broner.
All right, so unanimous twice, and 2 rounds given to Molina on another card. And that's a nice performance by Adrien Broner.
I'll tell you what, Daniel, if we don't make it as commentators, we should be judges, because those were our scores exactly.
Yeah, exactly. We were right on point with tonight's performance by both gentlemen. And even though they didn't come out with John Molina's team didn't come out with the victory, I think he could have did a little bit more to at least win some rounds, and he didn't do that.
I think you might make more as commentators. All right, so we'll get a chance to hear from Adrien Broner. Chance to share his thoughts on this triumph. Impressive without the knockout, a shutout on 2 cards.
First of all, thank God. Like always, a lot of them not on my side, but at the end of the day, the last time I fought for the crowd, I took my first loss. So no disrespect to everybody that came to see me fight today. I had to do what I had to do to get my victory today.
Since that Madonna loss, you have emphasized making a statement here in 140. What statement did you make tonight in defeating Molina?
Even a vicious guy like Molina, as you can see, I stood right inside of his face. I didn't go nowhere. I jabbed, I took every shot he threw, and I gave back mine, and I won the fight unanimously.
Let's take a look at the highlights, and especially as we go through the middle rounds now, round 6, it seems that's when you're getting more into your groove, and AB time was coming out.
Ah, man, you know it's always AB time. Like I said, John Molina's a great fighter. Tough, he can hit. So I had to be careful, but at the end of the day, my defense was on point like a thorn, and I did what I had to do. I'm still beautiful at the end of the fight.
Well, a little bit, as you said, you always like to put on a show and a fight, and you started doing both more in the 7th.
Man, of course, you know, he wanted me to sit there and bang it out with him, but why would I do that when God gave me so many gifts that I can use?
As we move on in this fight, gets into the 9th and the 10th round, what are you thinking, knowing that he still has that big punching power and he has pulled out a lot of fights late?
After a while, I knew he was gonna start going for the gusto. So I just stayed sharp, man. You know, while we was fighting, I was talking to him. Every shot he missed, I was like, oh, really? Try that again.
What's next?
You know, this is my first time on NBC, so I gotta give it to y'all. Like I said before, anybody can get it. Africans, Mexicans.
All right, thank you, AB. Let's go back to Marv, and you can hear the reaction that he causes many times in an arena, Marv.
And as you see, the overhand right has been effective by Adrien Broner all night, getting frustrated as he celebrates. But Adrien Broner has been very perfect tonight. Very well-deserved victory.
Well, look, you know, first of all, Adrien fought a good fight. He did what he had to do. But he should have kept his word and said he was going to sit there and fight me. If everyone sees, he saw him running around a little bit for the fight. But he did what he had to do to win, and he won the fight. But like I said, I thought it was a tough fight. He is a tough fighter. He moves a lot, and he boxes well, but he didn't exchange well.
Joe Goose was with you, your trainer. It looked like it was a frustrating time early for both you guys at times in that fight. Why is that?
Well, like I said, he moves a lot. He doesn't like to exchange too much, and when I get on the inside, he says he's holding me, or he says I'm leading with my head. I'm trying to go in there. This is a professional. We're trying to fight on the inside like we do. But it is what it is. He got the victory tonight. Like I said, I felt like he ran a little more than I liked him to run.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go to Al.
All right, so this is just the beginning of Premier Boxing Champions, and there is a load of big fights that you're going to want to see. Dates, perhaps 50 of them in the next year, and a few coming right around the corner. Take a look at what's happening.
I'm a fighter. My childhood was not normal. Shelter home kicked us out. Some night we had nowhere to stay. But boxing saved me.
My name is Danny Swift Garcia. I was born and raised in Philadelphia. This is a city of fighters. I think that's where I get my heart and my skill, my toughness. I began boxing at 7 years old. I worked hard every day to help my father. We just came together and we're here now. We're on top of the world. My dad was over Superman to me. I remember I used to even ask him, yo, Pop, can you beat Tyson? He used to tell me, yeah. He made me believe his dreams, and I believed in my dreams, and we worked hard together, and we made it happen.
He's coming.
All the hard work paid off, and we're here. We're just gonna keep going from now on.
Well, that's a boxing fans fight, Peterson and Garcia, and something that has been looked forward to. And take a look at these March events. Right next week we'll be with you, Berto Lopez. What do you think about this lineup, guys?
Fabulous, stacked head to toe. Look at this, March 13th, the 18th. Gonzalez, who we were talking about earlier, versus Gary Russell Jr. Stevenson and Bika. Man, I'll tell you what, this is stacked head to toe. And when they showed the promo for Danny Garcia, remember we talked about earlier, it's not always about winning fights, it's about selling fights, and excitement sells. Danny Garcia is a guy that sells fight because he's so excited. And there we go, speaking of him right there, Danny Garcia versus Peterson coming up. Love it.
That's April 11th, Peter Quillen against Lee, and that's at Barclays, a big hotbed for boxing now. And Chavez Jr. and Fonfara, that's a nice one. And Figueroa and Burns. Remember, in the United States, this series is bringing boxing back to free TV. That is revolutionary.
That is definitely revolutionary. Once before, it was done in the 70s and the 80s with the greats, the Sugar Ray Leonards and those guys of that caliber. Now we have it with the guys of our generation. And me as a champion to look forward to things like this, it's truly amazing. They give us a platform that only the possibilities are endless.
And I'll tell you what, though, boxing right now, it's at that time. It's like it was in the late 70s and the early 80s, and it's only appropriate that we got Sugar Ray Leonard in the house as well.
And you're going to hear people talking about boxing a lot, the buzz, and we have a lot coming your way, and a lot of interesting storylines, intriguing personal lives, like that of Robert the Ghost Guerrero. Talked earlier about him.
What's up?
Hi.
In October 2007, just days before one of her husband's fights, Casey Guerrero was diagnosed with leukemia.
At the time when she got diagnosed, my daughter was 2 years old. You know, my son was only a few months. It was a really, really tough situation.
After 2 years of treatment, doctors determined Casey needed a bone marrow transplant to survive. When the 20-year-old German woman was found to be a match, Robert stepped away from boxing until Casey recovered.
We didn't know if he was ever going to come back. Thankfully, she was able to beat it, and he was able to move on with his career.
She just hit 5 years, cancer-free. Like I tell everybody, I go, you know what? I fight because I love it. She's fighting for her life. That's why I say, hey, you know what? She's a real fighter.
Reach, quite a story there. And Danny, you can relate to matters like this better than most.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a cancer survivor myself. You know, being paralyzed and having my career taken away only to come back to become the first cancer survivor to be a world champion. It's amazing. You know, God is great, and the fact that he's so blessed to have his wife here with him is very inspirational, and I'm sure he's going to bring that passion with him into the ring tonight.
All right, so that is the Ghost Guerrero, and there is Keith one-time Thurman. Big gun. He's been knocking guys down, knockdowns in his last several fights. So as you take a look at Keith one-time Thurman, Joey caught up with him yesterday. This is how that was.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Keith, coming into your last fight, you're riding a 3-fight knockout streak. You got the victory, you dropped him, but you couldn't put him away. How much does that motivate you to come into this fight tomorrow night and do what's never been done before, knock out the Ghost, Robert Guerrero?
Well, people who've been following me, they know that I love knockouts more than I love a victory, though we come for a victory each and every time. So this fight, it's special. You know, first time back on NBC, I want the knockout. I want to show everybody why I am Keith one-time Thurman, and that my power is real, and that even though Guerrero is a great opponent, he's a tough opponent, he's not going to be able to stand up to my power.
He is tough, and he's extremely busy. He's busy on the outside. He's busy on the inside. If you grab him, he's still staying busy. If he grabs you, he's still staying busy. So when dealing with an active fighter like that, a guy that stays so busy, what's the strategy to create that opportunity for that KO punch?
You know, one, you can always resort to lateral movement. When you look at how Floyd Mayweather fought him, Guerrero did not have the same output that he has had, like his previous fight with Kamagai and his fight against Andre Berto and Adrien in the past. You know, he's fought a lot of good fighters, and if you fight his style, he's able to get off and fight the way that you described him. But my goal is, if he brings that style, to interrupt him and interrupt his rhythm in between his combinations with my power. And when he feels my power, he should naturally back off.
That's when you go for the KO?
You know, it only takes one time to get that knockout. So we're gonna be looking for that pristine, that perfect place punch, and then we can watch it on replay over and over again.
Well, that's a guy that knows his salesmanship. Keith one-time Thurman talking about all it takes is one time. And this is an excellent fans fight. We are looking forward to it. And this is emblematic of what we're going to see a lot on this series. Let's call it PBC on fire. All right, so there you get a look at some of the big fights, the action, the excitement that we're going to have in this series. And to emphasize again, in the United States, this is the reintroduction of boxing on free TV, and a big movement which kind of went away from boxing about 30 years ago. So this is the biggest statement boxing has been able to make on free television in several decades. And then it helps all facets of the business, because not only does the boxing thrive on that platform, but you're building stars for the pay-per-views, and you're giving people the opportunity to go through certain levels on TV, and also to attract matchups. You see this fighter, you see that fighter, and there are more opportunities to wonder what happens if this guy fights that guy. So that's part of the benefits coming with this. Thurman, 24-0, 21 knockouts. The Ghost is 32-2-1 with 18 knockouts, and some of his more impressive performances lately included the manhandling effort, the dominance of Andre Berto in getting a victory back there. And Thurman has been stopping people and dropping people. And you always know sometime in the fight, Daniel, that Thurman's going to drop a guy. At least his last 4 fights have been that way.
Oh, his power is inevitable. It's almost hard to escape. It's only a matter of just win. And if Guerrero can be smart, it won't happen tonight, but he's looking forward to it.
And now what are the kinds of things, if you're Guerrero, and this is a big puncher in Thurman, Guerrero's a crafty guy. What are some of the things you think we'll see from him?
Well, I think we'll see his veteranness tonight. I think we'll see a calm pose, looking for Guerrero to get in some counter shots as Thurman jumps in and leaps in with some of his shots that he throws. I'm looking forward to him being aggressive at some point, but we're definitely going to see the best Guerrero that we've seen, because he knows he's in tough tonight.
Well, Guerrero has a storied history in boxing, including a fight against Floyd Mayweather Jr., and we're going to see the biggest fight of all time coming May 2 right here at the MGM. Floyd Money Mayweather and Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao, a fight. They tried to start making this fight in 2009, and it didn't happen. All kinds of delays and drug testing and posturing, and did Mayweather want to risk his own, and bada bing, bada boom, down the line. Yet now
we're finally here, and I think the fans are going to be thrilled and excited to have this fight finally. Even though it's taken a long time to get it, a lot of people grew frustrated, but now that it's here, it's going to be one of the biggest fights of our generation.
And it's going to probably break one of the cardinal rules in boxing. Hey, when you have a fight that you're ready to do, make it, because if you don't make it, you'll never get that chance again. Yet with Mayweather Pacquiao, they do get that second chance.
But you know what, though? I'll tell you what. This is almost the same way Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis went down. It was the twilight of their careers. It was a fight that should have happened 5-6 years earlier. It was the fight the fans wanted. But, as my mama always told me, good things come to those who wait. And we've been waiting a long time,
man. Long enough,
and this is, you know what the great thing about this is, that the style matchup. Because when you talk about Floyd Mayweather, he's someone who looks perfect. He looks unbeatable, like there's no chink in his armor. But we've seen glimpses, southpaws, chop Corley, Zab Judah. Early in the fight, they gave him problems. So just looking at this, we know Pacquiao is a legit threat from what he's done his whole career, but he's also got the style to frustrate Floyd.
Indeed, he does. It'll be an interesting matchup.
For this one, we've got big fights on the horizon in May. We've got this one straight up, Thurman and Guerrero.
As they make their way to the ring,
Robert
first,
Guerrero.
here is Robert the Goat.
Make our first entry.
Guerrero!
Very composed guy from Gilroy, California. So as we wait for him to make his entrance, what do you think he's got to do in this fight tonight? What about the Guerrero perspective?
Well, I think in order for Guerrero to be successful, like I said, he has to be able to control the space and distance. And he's also a southpaw, which gives him an advantage early on. If he can time Keith Thurman, as sometimes Keith Thurman jumps in and lands in with punches, if he can time those shots with perfect precision, he can either catch an upset or be very perfected.
Okay, so there is the Ghost.
And now, making his way to the ring, Keith Thurman!
And what are you telling one time for keys to victory?
One time said it best. It only takes one time. But creating that opportunity for that one time can sometimes prove difficult with a fighter as busy as Robert Guerrero. He can nullify the busyness by utilizing his movement. He said he took one page from the playbook of Floyd Mayweather, and that's that lateral movement. If he can use that movement to control the space between them, not leap in with his punches, but sit down on them, he has the capability to touch the chin of Guerrero and put him to sleep. Another thing is that any fighter who's very durable, who can take a lot of beating, that wears on them. And as the sands of time pass, the ability to absorb that punishment gets less and less and less. In his last fight, Guerrero took a lot of shots, a lot of punishment. That kind of punishment takes his toll. With a puncher like Keith Thurman, he's the guy who will expose whether that toll was taken or not.
All right, so there is Thurman. Get a look at how these guys match up with their numbers. Certainly gotten the breakdown on styles. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape. 5 years younger is Thurman. That's his advantage. The height, same. A little bit of a reach advantage for Thurman. Not dramatic numbers there, but the biggest one might be that age if Thurman can make that come into play. 12-round fight. And the rules, unified. No 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight, but physicians do have a lot of input. In case of an accidental foul, you go to the scorecards at the end of round 4. And let's get a chance to meet the fighters.
And welcome again to the MGM Grand Garden Arena here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Tonight, NBC Sports brings you Premier Boxing Champions. This bout is brought to you by Goosen Promotions and presented by Corona Extra La Cerveza Más Fina. Presenting the judges, Adelaide Bird, Dave Moretti, and Jerry Roth. And the referee, Kenny Bayless. Las Vegas, it's time for the second main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing in the welterweight division. It's what we've all been waiting for, the return of boxing to primetime network television. And without any further ado, let's get to the fighters and the fight. Presenting in the red corner, wearing the red trunks with the white trim, from Gilroy, California. His record, 32 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 18 knockouts. Please welcome Robert the Ghost Guerrero! And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner, entering the ring wearing white trunks with the blue trim. Hailing from Largo, Florida, his undefeated record stands 24 wins, no losses. 21 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome Keith one-time Thurman!
So anything on the upper half will be clean. Anything on the lower half, I'll call. Now, gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room. I want to caution you to keep this fight clean at all times, protect yourself at all times, and what I say you must obey. Good luck, Touch him up. Touch him up.
Thurman and Guerrero, one time. Here we go. Guerrero, pro since 2001. Nice wins instead of Alberto. You look at Thurman, and there across the way, Guerrero, Michael Catsinis, Joel Casamayor. Won a 126-pound title, 130-pound title, 135. And they come out right off the bat. We've got an excellent stylistic matchup here with the hard-punching righty against the lefty. Now let's talk about the stylistic matchup, Danny, what each guy needs to do.
Well, what Keith Thurman needs to do is, I don't think he needs to jump in and lead him with punches because Robert Guerrero is a great counter puncher. I think if Guerrero, if he wants to be very successful, he needs to be poised and catch him coming in. But it'll be an interesting matchup to see who can establish that coming on early on.
Early is you hit the nail on the head. Thurman can't just leap in. But it's not just leap in. He can't leap in and stay in because that's where Guerrero is going to be most effective. And what we've seen early from Thurman is he has leaped in twice. He did, he landed the punch, but just right there, he got out just as fast as he got in.
And the right hand lead, effective weapon against the southpaw. And Danny, that's the classic along with the double left hook. What else have you found effective weapons against the left?
Staying on the angle, staying on the outside, keeping your left foot on the outside and jabbing towards the left. Not getting to the southpaw's strong hand, which is the straight left or the left hook.
That's if you're Thurman. You're circling left, you're circling right.
You're circling to your left so you can stay away from Guerrero's powerful hand, which is his left hand.
Good left hook here by Thurman. He's been getting in there with that right hand lead so far. He's been very smooth with the hook too.
And if you keep your eyes to the lower half of the ring, you'll see Thurman winning the foot battle. They're toe-to-toe right now, and there he goes. He steps outside of the lead right foot of Guerrero, and that puts him right in range to land that right hand either to the body or to the head.
If you do that, you keep your opponent moving in small circles inside, and you get to control the action. And then the other side for Guerrero, going to get that lead foot outside. Not quite getting there.
A lot of time when you watch the southpaw from an orthodox fighter, you can tell who's winning the fight, not necessarily by watching the punches being thrown, but watch the battle for foot position. The guy who can dictate and control that foot position is going to be able to establish his power shots and do more damage as the fight progresses.
And that is Thurman so far.
One thing I'll tell you I like out of Guerrero right now is he's making it a firefight. He's not tying up. He's not fighting the fight he fought against Burrow. He's willing to get into a shootout. He's willing to go technique for technique and trade in the pocket in the center of the ring. That, I'll tell you what, they fight like that, you know who's going to win? Us, the fans, the people ringside watching. Right hand snaps back the head of Robert Guerrero.
Thurman having an excellent round with his pinpointed shots, and there was Guerrero trying to counter. But Thurman got there just a little bit ahead. It's round one. There's Porter Lopez.
And I'll tell you what, Guerrero was able to counter that punch because he did exactly what Danny was talking about. He let Keith jump in, and he timed that jump in. And here we see exactly the action we're talking about coming up towards the end of the ring. There he is. You see Thurman jump in, and boom, big overhand right by Keith Thurman, lands on the chin, and here he goes to jump in again, lands the big hook, lands the big overhead. Guerrero looks a little frustrated as the round comes to an end.
Wash it, wash it. Wash it out.
You got it, you got it, you got it.
Wash it.
Here, here.
Let's go, guys. Take it out.
Second round action. It's a good one. Keith Thurman and Robert Guerrero. Thurman 24-0, 21 knockouts.
Tell you what, that first round was a fight, but Keith Thurman was able to establish his distance in the range with the right hand. And there you go. He looked like he took a page out of Broner's book, jabbed to the head, jabbed to the body real quick.
Talk about the high-level matchup. The WBA lists Thurman and Floyd Mayweather as their champions, and Guerrero is number 4. Otherwise, it's Floyd Mayweather from WBC, Manny Pacquiao. They are the big names. So this division really can sprout somebody to make the next move.
And Guerrero still looking poised and keeping his composure. He's still waiting for that one shot, and as you can see, Keith Thurman comes in with his hands down, leaping in, and Robert Guerrero catches him with a right hand.
And that was the right hand lead by Thurman.
Nice body shot, nice strength to your body. And Dan, you hit the nail on the head, though. Is that every shot that Guerrero lands that's effective has been timing, jumping, and leaping into his punches.
And what we're going to see from that is that at some point, one of these guys will have to make an adjustment. It works or it doesn't work. And here is Thurman with a nice right hand from the squared up stance. Losing a little power, but gaining a little quickness.
This is going to be, we can already see this is going to be an amazing matchup because we both know both these guys are great at adjusting. Both of those wasn't great at adjusting with Floyd Mayweather, but most guys aren't. But even still, he's a great adjuster. And even Keith Thurman, I seen him before when he couldn't get the knockout, he went to boxing. And he went to displaying his skill set. So this is going to be a great matchup, and this is going to be fireworks all night.
Yeah, this is going to be a combination of a firefight and a chess match because these are thinking power guys.
But you know what? I think it's going to come down to who makes that right adjustment faster.
Here's Bontempo, Joey Broner, Daniel Jacobs with you here on the debut of Premier Boxing Champions. Right hand by Thurman gets home. Tries to set something up with the jab. Thurman has Guerrero in a spot. He can do some business here.
Just the sheer presence of Keith Thurman just mentally gets into an opponent's head. And the power that's behind every punch. You know, it can be discouraging, but Robert Guerrero, he's a veteran in this game. He's keeping his composure, and he's trying to fight. He wants to fight.
And here we go. We see Ghost countering with a nice overhand right hook, and boom, Thurman ducks under the old counter of his. And there's Thurman active as he's coming forward. Big overhand, big left hook, follows it up with 2 shots to the body, and then he gets out before Guerrero has a chance to counter.
Great work. Good fight. Fans are loving it.
A lot of the keys to the success for Thurman is not going to be getting in. It's going to be getting out in time so he doesn't get countered by Guerrero.
And to his credit, Robert Guerrero is not the fastest fighter to be able to counter and be effective. But if he times it perfect, he could be.
Time is the name of the game for Guerrero.
Indeed.
Round 3 underway. Keith Thurman and Robert Guerrero. Excellent welterweight matchup.
For the first time, you know, we just saw this round start up with Robert Guerrero firing a jab. He's been jabbed. He hasn't been good with that jab, but for the first time, he opened this round with a good double jab. I think trying to set the tone for the first time.
He's been having Thurman come at him and then trying to react, so he gets off the mark first. That's one of the subtle adjustments we're going to see over different rounds throughout this fight. Take turns getting off first, take turns coming out first.
Oh yeah, indeed. And like we said earlier, it's gonna come down to that, but it's gonna be a matter of who does it first, who can adjust first, who can power and put their position in the right place the first time.
And as we're just 1 minute into round 3. One thing you really have to love about this matchup, Joey, is that it's designed that somebody is going to have to take away the other guy's comfort zone.
Absolutely. This is a fight fans fight right here. You got 2 guys. You got a Warrior and Guerrero who just loves to stay active, makes it a nasty fight. And you got to Keith Thurman, the guy who's got a 92% knockout ratio. That's nasty. That alone sells the fight.
It's the highest knockout percentage in the welterweight
And he has a massive swell on his head. He must have got hit with a really hard shot.
And the thing is, if you're the big knockout artist, you're taking chances and you're going to get hit too. And here comes Guerrero. He's right on Thurman. Opportunity for Guerrero. At least follow up. Good jab by Guerrero.
Dan called it, but as you said, it's got to be Guerrero time. Thurman leaps in, Guerrero times a perfect left uppercut, and you see the hematoma on the left forehead of Keith Thurman to show the purpose. Again, Guerrero landed that jab, touching him. Guerrero's finding his range and taking control of this round.
Thurman not discouraged. He's trying to get inside that jab, but Guerrero having a little bit more form now. Looks like collision of the heads. And we'll have to, it's very important to see whether the officials rule that too. And there's no problem with the eye. Something will get wrong in that area where they would have to stop the fight. It's very important that they make a designation.
And I'll tell you what, that lump looks like it's growing. It seems like it's got a small head on his head.
And it makes you wonder, going into this fight, leading on, will it grow? Will this corner be able to sustain it and make it go down the swelling? But it'll be interesting to see because it's growing and it's only been around, and it's only been the first round.
And you see right here, immediately going to work on the swelling, the hematoma on the head of Keith Thurman. And this is one of the things you always have to match up, you have to watch out for in the battle of the Southpaw Orthodox. They always have a tendency, because their two legs are close, to clash heads. Headbutts always one of the worries. And here we go. We get a replay of the collision there. And you see, boom, right there in the pocket, both heads meet. And as Thurman pulls back, you see that knot growing. And Daniel goes back in the head, controlling the swelling, getting that under control. Keith Thurman really has to rely on his corner right now to try to reduce that swelling, keep it from growing. And if you're in Robert Guerrero's corner, you put a bullseye on that and say, hey, go for that, tag that, touch that, disrupt it.
And as we move into round 4, there may even be a bigger reason for Guerrero to go after that. We're watching, we did not see an official rule get called as to whether that was determined to be an accidental headbutt. So if no rule is called, and if they decide that would somehow lead to some of the complication for the fight to be called, that would be a victory for Guerrero as opposed to going to the scorecards.
Right now, I've got this fight 2 rounds to 1 for Keith Thurman. I thought he got the first 2. I thought the third round, Guerrero found his rhythm and landed some nice shots, but he needs to build on that momentum that he had in the last round.
Yeah, he does. He seems to be very comfortable with jabbing and moving and still being poised at the same time.
Now we're seeing Keith Thurman now trying to get low and then launch an offense. What is he trying to do here?
He's trying to target the body. Is what he's doing. He's trying to come in with the lead right hand because the lead right hand for southpaw fighters seems to land every time. But Robert Guerrero is ready for that right hand with the counter shot.
Now, how about the adjustment that you have to make when you're in there with the lefty? You know, you like to throw your right hand as a power shot. Now it's better as a lead shot. How big of an adjustment, power-wise, is that for the right-hand fighter?
Well, it's very hard because it's a battle of position. You know, naturally, their jab hand can get to us faster than our jab hand can get to theirs. So it's very frustrating to get the momentum and to get the advantage to where you can be able to hit first and not get hit.
But while we were talking, we saw Keith Thurman again. He just found the range for a perfect place. Straight right hand, down the pipe. That's his punch. If he continues to find that range, that's his success. That's the secret of success to knocking out Robert Guerrero. Find the hold for that straight right, touch him on the chin, put him lights out.
Guerrero has never been stopped. Thurman has never been beaten. So that was the storyline attached to this, as far as what each guy could accomplish that had not been done yet. And we're going to see, because of the caliber of the fighters, that they're both going to have their momentum.
As we can see, Keith Thurman was just successful with landing that lead right hand. He didn't land it all night, but he's getting these little cracks and moments in between. And if he can land the right one, it might all be over.
It's a matter of centimeters, inches. Every time he gets a little closer, and then it's just placing it, finding the right placement.
Well, that was a half centimeter there. He got closer. And there's a good right hand.
Finds that right again.
And here comes Thurman coming in. Guerrero trying to score, but Thurman eluded him. And the intrigue continues between these two guys.
I'll tell you what, coming into this fight, Thurman's the more polished boxer. Guerrero's the tough fighter, but I'm more polished. But just watching Guerrero box with him, he looks just as polished as Keith Thurman does. Let me go to some highlights here. We see Thurman sits down like he's gonna go to the body with that right hand, and he shoots the straight to the chin. And there again, there he sits down, and then he turns that half upper into kind of a hook. And we were talking about this during the round. You asked Danny, why is he sitting down? What happens when you sit down and level change is your level change sets up your body shot. But once you've established that body shot, sitting down like that acts as a feint. It brings your opponent's hands down to respect that body shot, and then you come upstairs and that's straight down the pipe. And that's exactly what Thurman's doing. He's making, as Danny talked about earlier, those split-second adjustments, those on-the-scene adjustments.
We move into round 5. Dave Bontempo, Joey Broner, and Daniel Jacobs with you on the premiere of Premier Boxing Champions, MGM Grand, Las Vegas. Thurman has had good success with the right hand lead, some left hooks. He's had the better angles, keeping his lead foot outside. Guerrero's had some moments in the middle too. Now, how about who got the best start in this fight for you guys 4 rounds in?
As of right now, I scored 3 rounds to 1. I gave the third to Guerrero. He started to find his timing. He answered with some nice uppercuts on the inside. But the story right now has been Keith Thurman. There he does it again, finding the range for that right hand. And if you look, you see the left eye of Robert Guerrero starting to close up because Thurman is just pinpoint placing that laser accurate straight right down the pipe.
With that right hand lead, a leaping angle shot gets in. The great angle against the southpaw, does it again. And it shows a lot of patience too, Danny, that he can pop the right hand, double right hand like that, and still not gamble in a big brawl.
Right, absolutely, because he's still sitting back, so he's not really putting his body in a position where he can get hit while throwing feints and while throwing punches at the same time.
It's a technique of educated technique for a power puncher. You could get the idea that the guy wants to bomb away all the time because of his knockout record, but this is real good heads-up boxing and opportunistic boxing by Broner. I'm sorry, by Thurman.
But Broner did do some heads-up educated boxing himself. But I'll tell you what, that's what makes Keith Thurman so dangerous, is he's not just a puncher, he's a boxer puncher. So he's a good craftsman. He knows his art, he knows how to use his art to set up his other weapon, which is devastating one-punch knockout power.
Here's Guerrero trying to slide forward. And Thurman getting the edge on the distance.
You see that body shot, he sat down. That's another, I really feel like every time he sits down and steps in the right hand of the body, what he's really doing is investing, just use that feint to set up the straight right to the face later in the fight.
What I love about Keith Thurman is that even though he's being the aggressor in this fight, sometimes he gets hit with hard shots that catch the judge's eye, and he comes right back to get that point back and to come back and win this round.
Speaking of eye, it's like the left eye of Guerrero starting to close, and they'll have to do some work in the corner.
That's the work in that right hand of Keith Thurman. Brilliant fight right now by Keith Thurman. Guerrero's in it, he's a warrior. The name Guerrero means warrior, but Keith Thurman putting in an actual full display of boxing and power punches. Here we go, we see some action from the round, and there's that straight right we talked about, right on the left eye of Guerrero. Guerrero kind of smiles like, yeah, you got me. Step back, nice little counter hook, slips under that, throws a right of his own, and then as Guerrero answers, he circles out. Brilliant defensive footwork by Keith Thurman as he hits and he makes a miss. See the edge swell being applied, pain swelling for Guerrero. Keith, you're in the corner of Robbie Guerrero. In our books, he's down 4 rounds right now. What do you tell him?
I tell him to push it up a little bit more, put the pressure on him. He hasn't taken a step back. He has been aggressive, but even still, he hasn't been able to be an effective aggressor. I say he put a little punches a little bit more together, put his combinations in bunches, and see if he can come up with some points.
All right, so we're into round 6. Keith Thurman, Robert Guerrero. Thurman off the mark fast. Excellent marksmanship. Good counter punching, lead right hands. He's done a potpourri of good things here against Guerrero, who's trying to chase him down, but not getting it.
One thing to notice right now about Keith Thurman in this round, where are his hands? A lot of times fighters, they start off defense, hands high, they find the rhythm, and then once they get that rhythm, they try to feel. They feel in the flow, but dropping those hands down, they get slick with it. His hands dropped this round. I don't know if he wanted to kind of open up, use some more footwork and some slick styles to create some openings, but now he's brought him back up. But Daniel, you know how that goes. You're out there fighting, you feel your work, you feel that flow, you let your hands go a little bit, you let them drop a little bit, you kind of get in this rhythmic motion where you're timing, you're feeling your opponent out.
It's almost as if you're like Bruce Lee, or you
And here comes Thurman with the left hook to the body, the right hand upstairs. Gliding into position, finding the right angle, scoring with the hook. Drifting to the side, jab and get out. And he's got Guerrero chasing him. And he gets into an angle where the right hand lead could be there. So this has been a good display of the generalship for Keith Thurman here. He's all about power in terms of his record, but we're seeing some real intelligence.
Nice body shot, nice right hook to the body.
That's what you want to see from a young champion. You want to see him be able to adjust in there, especially with a veteran in Guerrero. You want to be able to see him put what he normally does in there, was be an aggressive knockout artist, but if it doesn't work for him, go back to the drawing boards and create another plan, which he's doing tonight.
Beautiful. You see him double up that right hand, he touched it short, he pulled it, touched it again with that straight right hand. The thing I'm liking about this round is the increase in footwork by Keith Thurman. And it's not footwork defensively, it's footwork offensively. There's a lot of ways to create offensive openings. Punching, jab, that's one way, but utilizing your footwork to create new angles, new openings.
Here comes Thurman with that new offense. Driving Guerrero back, capitalizing on opportunity. Good left hook by Thurman. He's patient here, and then he springs into action. Nice right hand by Thurman, so it's a round that it was direct for all that. He showed it all.
And I'll tell you what, at the end of this round, he threw one right hand. Guerrero ate it. For the first time, Guerrero didn't come forward, he stood back. He stood back, he did nothing, so Thurman throws another right hand. Again, Guerrero steps back again, and Thurman throws a third right hand. He almost looked like those three right hands kind of broke just a little bit, just a little bit. He succumbed to the pressure, to the power of those right hands.
That's a man, dude. Faster than that. Let's go.
Here we go, some action from that round, and there you see it's all Thurman. He goes to the head with the jab, throws the right hand, the hook off that, feints. Guerrero sits down, and there it is. He sits low, feints the right, takes an angle, ducks right under the hook, the overhand of Guerrero, and lands a nice left hook of his own. Masterful boxing going on right now by one-time Keith Thurman.
All right, we push ahead. Keith Thurman and Robert Guerrero, second half of this fight. Thurman has been breaking Guerrero down in the last couple rounds, and the 6th round was an exceptional one for him. Thurman, based out of Clearwater, Florida, 24-0, 21 knockouts. And Robert Guerrero, 32-2-1. Interesting comments. You know, we've had the Thurman profile and trying to get bigger fights. Jeff Mayweather, the uncle of Floyd Mayweather, said, you know, I think Thurman's average. He can punch a little bit, but he hasn't fought anybody. The barking and woofing don't mean nothing. Beat a real fighter, beat Guerrero, and then you've beaten a fighter that's done something. And so far, he's been doing that.
I'll tell you one guy who gets overlooked. He's got a knockout victory over Diego Chavez. Diego Chavez is a tough Argentine fight. We've seen him fight on HBO his last 2 fights. He got DQ'd, unfortunately, but his last fight, I thought he looked great. And he's a warrior. You don't see Thurman getting too much credit for that fight, but he's got some names under his belt. They're not the best guys in the world, but they're veterans and they're legit fighters.
It's almost injustice to these up-and-coming champions and prospects and contenders when they're on their way for a guy to say, you don't have the right to be in there with me. Because obviously we're trying to get these fights. We're trying to get to that level where we can fight these guys. So it's almost discredited to guys like Keith Thurman and a lot of other boxers who don't get the credit that they deserve from champions.
Unless they can then step up and say, all right, well, now you motivate me.
Exactly.
And now I'm going to go and beat these guys. I'm going to earn that credit. And you're only the uncle anyway.
And you've had the famous uncle.
Yeah, Thurman is a pro since 2007 and has done everything asked in his career. Jan Zalek was a good stylistic fighter. Took care of him. So did Karas, a good fighter. So you do get to one spot, though, where people say, okay, now this is the recognizable name that we know. And Guerrero's that guy. And Thurman's had an excellent outing. Guerrero is trying to get close enough to get one sequence started.
But where Guerrero goes wrong is the fact that he's a flat-footed fighter. He has to sit and punch, and that's why he was very ineffective against Mayweather. And you can see Keith Thurman is using those same tactics that Mayweather did, bouncing in and out, going side to side, and jumping in with powerful punches.
Another thing to notice with this footwork battle here is Guerrero has the tendency to follow. As Thurman starts dancing, as he's sticking moves, as he utilizes the ring to his advantage, Guerrero tends to follow him around instead of cutting him off, blocking him off, and putting him in the
Once again, Las Vegas, immediately following this bout, it's a featherweight showdown. The always entertaining fan favorite, Abner Molina, in action against Arturo Reyes here at the MGM Grand Arena.
And here we go. We got some nice highlights from the round. You see there's that right hand followed by the left hook. And you see it just sent Ghost stumbling. And a left hook. The story of the night's been the right hand. But there you see that beautiful left hook busting up the face of the Ghost, Robert Guerrero. Always the warrior, never taking a step back, but just getting outclassed right now by one-time Keith Thurman.
You gotta start working, man. Uppercuts and everything. On the inside, work with. You gotta start working. You gotta start working.
As we start round 8, Keith Thurman, Robert Guerrero. Thurman dominating, has landed 113 of 327 punches according to CompuBox, and 55 of 246 for Guerrero. And we usually see a higher percentage than that for Guerrero. And the power advantage, which is everything but a jab, 88 to 33 for Thurman. So all the way up and down the board, it's been his fight.
Very impressive numbers for this young champion. He's definitely shown tremendous heart, boxing, athleticism. He's been displaying his full arsenal tonight.
No, and especially because coming into this fight, the quotes from Guerrero and a lot of the boxing pundits were, he's never been in the ring with anyone this good. This is the biggest step up in competition. Well, I think he stepped up in a big way, and he's showing he belongs at that next level.
And he really does have more at stake here than Guerrero, because he's not the guy that's fought Mayweather. So he's got a chance to say, hey, I'm not spoiled yet. I can go out and I can be the guy that steps into a big opportunity. Whereas for Guerrero, he would have to do something very dynamic to force that kind of a payday. So for Thurman, this is the fight of opportunity. We can see thus far, he's taking his opportunity. Double jab here by Thurman.
Right hand again.
And he came in as a decided favorite, did Thurman. Here in Las Vegas, they post the odds, and betting on the fight is legal. So Thurman carried that favored status, and he has justified that status so far.
Kudos to the corner of Keith Thurman for keeping that massive swell on his head down. I mean, it could be worse. We have seen fighters in the past where trainers haven't done a real good job, and it's gone to the point where the referee had to stop it, but they maintained it and did a really good job of sustaining it.
And you brought up a good point about the referee having to stop it, because it was passed along to us later that the referee did determine that had been an accidental headbutt. So what that would have meant had this fight been stopped for that reason, they would have gone to the scorecards. Unfortunately, as you said, Broner has kept it out of the process.
That's why you want to make sure you have a strong team, because sometimes it comes down to you know, your trainer, your cutman, and everybody keeping things in control in the corner.
You know, when I hear that, I always go back to Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas over in Tokyo. Mike Tyson's corner, they have a rubber glove filled with ice as the ice swell.
Final seconds as Thurman puts a punctuation on this round.
I'm Deontay Wilder from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I have a perfect record of 33-4, 32 knockouts. Now I'm the first American heavyweight champion in 8 years. Still remember, I walked in the gym.
And here we go, some more action from the round. As usual, Keith Thurman found the home for the right hand, shoots it fast, snaps back the head, doubles it up, puts a jab cross, ends with the hook, and then he's out on his toe, light, faint, moving. Brilliant boxing by one-time Keith Thurman. And here we go, enjoying the action as much as we are. Denzel Washington in the house. He's got to be one of my favorite actors of all time.
Crowd giving him his props. Yeah, I've seen him in a lot of great roles. Whether it's athletic roles, you can pick your favorite. I always love Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans on there. So it's Training Day. I love it with Training Day.
There's always these celebrities support us athletes and us boxers, because this is the last. This is one of the greatest gladiator sports of the world.
Of all time.
Of
History
all
of
time.
mankind.
You know, and to have that support of everyone in the world, celebrities and everyone looking on, it's a great feeling. Good for the sport.
And Keith Thurman, methodical, disciplined performance, as although he's known as a puncher, 24 wins and 21 knockouts, he has brought a lot of intelligence into this battle tonight. Hot-shotting.
That's what makes a dangerous fighter. You have the balance of the two, of equal intelligence and equal power. That's the makings of a great champion. That's a guy that can outbox you or put you to sleep. That's someone you pay to see.
Talk about the intelligence. One of the great things about Mike Tyson in his heyday, his first big move was usually a defensive one. He would slip your punches first. You would always see the big bomb that would end fights early. But he would slip. Thurman has been comfortable darting in and out, being at a safe distance, and Daniel showing a different look in almost every round.
Absolutely. That's why I'm so impressed with this guy tonight, because the typical Keith Thurman that we're used to seeing, he's been able to change it up and switch it up and be a better. We've seen up jabs, we've seen body shots, we've seen movement that we're used to not really seeing from this guy at this magnitude with opponents such as Robert the Ghost Guerrero.
You know, Daniel, you mentioned it earlier, you mentioned it often. This fight's going to come down to the adjustments, and he's made the adjustments brilliantly. I love the body work, feint the body, come back up top. He's landed it 3-4 times. Guerrero goes down.
One time thinks he might have landed. One time. Guerrero has other ideas. He's trying to beat the count. This is going to be close. He's timed assault.
Saved by the bell.
These fans are going insane. Everyone on the field.
Great. You did something that no man has ever done. Baby, we can do it. All right, time up. Ahora sí. It's no time to go to war, baby. You know what you gotta do? Túmbalo, ahora. Vámonos, baby. I believe. Be ready, okay?
Guerrero go to work with that eye. A nasty cut opened up. It was getting closed. That eye was getting closed by the vicious right hand of Keith Thurman. And now he opened up, and that cut's in a bad position. It's right over the eye of Robert Guerrero. That's the fastest way to stop a fight on cuts, is opening up above the eye because the blood pours in the eye, and the fighter can't defend himself. And here we see the beginning of the end. The left hook to the body, the right upstairs. Guerrero goes down.
All right, so we power ahead. What kind of a rest did Guerrero get? Was 1 minute enough, or can Thurman close the show? Here in round 10, it's 5 fights in a row now that Thurman has knocked him.
And yet, Robert Guerrero comes out pushing forward. That shows a tremendous heart and experience as such a world-class athlete. He's coming out after being dropped and almost stopped to come forward and try to get what he wants as payback.
When your last name is Warrior, it doesn't surprise me.
Well, he gets a little bit of a break here with the tape on. Look, remember something about Thurman, you know, you're talking about people saying, well, you haven't fought this guy or that fighter. He was in 2008 Olympic trials silver medalist, first in the Midwest grade. Now, 154-pound champion today. Both advanced well as pros. And this is Thurman's emergence night as far as his popularity on a grand scale.
You know, it's funny, Thurman talked about being a fan of astrology and the cosmos, and he talked about a star. And he said a star is born, but it doesn't really bloom, it doesn't blossom until it's ready. We're talking about stars in outer space. And he referred to one of his fights as HBO as the debut, the emergence of his star. I think tonight is that night. Tonight is the night this guy is becoming a star. He's putting the world on alert. Hey, there's a new threat in the welterweight division. His name's one time, and I'm going to show you why.
Daniel, obviously Guerrero has to go for gold. What did we talk about how he should be going for gold?
Well, definitely he needs to be going for gold because that last round was pretty much a deciding factor. I think he's been losing the rounds thus far, but it hasn't really done justice. And now he's really going for gold because it's round 10. With only 2 more rounds to go, he needs something big.
And here is a guy succeeded going for gold, and everybody here around the world, even people in the street probably know that he needs a knockout.
Well, you have to find something within. True champions find that spirit within where they can bring it out from the time easily. But it only comes out in moments like this.
There's a quote by a guy named Eric Thomas. Eric Thomas, the hip-hop preacher. He says, champions keep going when they've got nothing else left in the tank. This is that point where Guerrero's got nothing else. He's been outclassed. He's been beat on. He's been battered. This is where he has to reach, stay down inside, find a way.
And he's trying. This is Guerrero.
Tremendous hard work.
And he's bringing the crowd to their feet. No one's silly.
Here's Guerrero trying an opportunity. Thurman backing off as he in defensive posture, waiting to land one big shot. Is he setting a trap, or has Guerrero found a little spark?
Now my question is right now, this is the fight Guerrero needs to fight. But why is he only fighting it in the 10th round?
And why would Thurman be letting him do it now? So that's the question that we're going to see further into round 11.
In MGM Grand Garden, they're all on their feet, they're all cheering. Robert Guerrero, Keith Thurman brought the stadium to their feet. Here we go, some action on the work right here. Guerrero backs him up, but it's Keith Thurman firing 2s and 3s, backing up Guerrero. This was the story of the round. Non-stop back and forth action. Guerrero down in the last round, but won't stop coming forward.
All right, concerned the Guerrero family. It's tough to watch a loved one fight.
But there was no fear in their eyes. There was no doubt in their eyes. There was promise. There was hope. They still believe in their father. In the last round, their father showed them why.
What that family has been through, the Guerrero family, has been very, very gruesome. And the fact that they all are champions and they all have the heart of the champion and the spirit lives on. And whether Robert Guerrero wins tonight, he's a true champion.
Well, he said his boxing career is Disneyland compared to what his wife went through in overcoming leukemia. He's had a lot of character. He stopped his career for a while to help her recover. Been grounded. He's been a good example, a good champion. And he's trying to steal this one back from Keith Thurman. But Thurman might be having the night of his life.
He is. He's becoming a star tonight. He has shown a full as beautiful straight right here. He is becoming a star tonight, and he is letting the fans know that he is the next, and he is the one.
You know, Dan, we talked about it earlier. We talked all night about adjustments. The one adjustment Robert Guerrero hasn't made is the response to that right hand. Thurman found a home for it, but Guerrero has been unable to make an adjustment to set him up, to counter him, to defend against it, and that lack of an adjustment is what's hurting him in this fight.
The speed of Thurman, the elusive quality, his footwork, the angles, guarding it,
switch direction, that was beautiful.
So, the crowd doesn't like the semi-defensive posture here by Thurman. But look, it's like other sports. You can run the clock a little bit. You have a lead. Make the guy take you out of that comfort zone.
But let me ask you this. If this is your debut performance, if this is what you're showing the world and making an announcement, I'm here, take a look at what I can do. Do you want to coast in the last 2 rounds?
Well, no, you still have time.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to play into the crowd because the crowd will get you knocked out. You want to be able to fight your fight. And if he may be tough, he may be able to win it. He's taking a break and fighting the fight that he wants to fight. And I'm definitely in agreement with taking a little break if you need it.
Because you know that in round 12, they'll come out with all their adrenaline. So this is really the toughest round psychologically to get over when you're tired. Good left hook by Thurman.
Nice body right there, downstairs. And I love what he's doing right here, the posture, the size, the different angles. He's finding awkward, different creative angles to throw different punches. Those are the ones that hit you that you don't see coming.
So the final seconds tick off. Thurman coasting and roasting Guerrero here. Nothing that Guerrero can do about this play. Not a heart, but Thurman is in charge.
Bien, okay? What is the mic? Hey, let's put it on this guy now. Here.
Relax. Open final round. Touch goal.
Here we go. Some action from the 11. Boom. There's that straight right. And I love it. No pain, no punch came, but he rolled right under, anticipating that overhand left from Guerrero. Look at that. There you see a perfectly placed overhand right. Snap back the head of the Ghost Robert Guerrero. And that's been the story of this night. The right hand of Keith Thurman has dictated the pace. It's done the damage. It's won him 11 of the 12 rounds.
By final round, Thurman and Guerrero has been the strong contest we expected. They tap it up. Keith Thurman 24-0, 21 knockouts. And Robert Guerrero trying to erase what's on the scorecards and get that desperation knockout. Dave Fontempo, Joey Broner, and Daniel Jacobs with you.
And he's cutting off the ring, something that he hasn't been doing the whole fight. It sucks that he has to wait till the last round to do it, but he's definitely cutting off the ring to give him the best possibility to get this knockout that he so desperately needs at this moment.
This is what concerns me though, is that what he's doing now is the fight he had to fight understanding this. But why doesn't it wait till the 10th, 11th, 12th? And he's got Thurman backing up. He looks like he's Thurman hurt.
In the final round, one real strong theory is that you're not worried about getting through the round now, so you'll commit to the footwork needed to make that move, because there's a lot of footwork involved in cutting off the ring. You have to make that, so he is doing it here. These guys are both showing a ton of heart in this fight.
He's putting his punches together. He's working on that right hand kick as well.
And here is Guerrero now is trying to left foot Thurman.
What a fight. 12th and final round. Both guys go with the blow.
This is the fight that the fans all expect. We're getting more than what we anticipated.
And I'll tell you what, it's Robert Guerrero that's bringing the crowd to the feet. His gutsy performance, his won't stop, his won't quit attitude, his continuous pressure. That's what's bringing these fans to their feet late in the fight.
He's the one coming forward here. Thurman has the angles. And it's to be a matter of keep away for him. And Guerrero getting the chant the first time. The crowd really got behind him to this degree.
I can forget for a guy like Robert Guerrero. He's so tremendous hard this whole fight. And the fact that he's behind and going forward and he's giving it all. He's taking punches in the process, but he's giving it all. You got to be more guy like that.
Win or lose, Robert Guerrero has right now secured his next fight. Will be a big fight. Will be on a big stage, just for the fact that he's all guts, he's all heart. He won't quit, he won't stop until the final bell sounds or until he's unconscious.
And on top of all of that, crowd wanted, because he was doing some very good work for this one. It might have been one of Guerrero's better rounds. And he runs out of time, but he's not going to run out of fans. They're up and cheering this fight. Even the family can take it.
And I love Guerrero's dad. I grew up in the East Bay, man, California, and I'm used to seeing guys like that, man. It reminds me of home.
So Keith Thurman, high visibility victory. It would so appear.
Robert, hell of a fight, baby. Hell of a fight.
He brought one of his best efforts to his biggest stage. Thurman outlanding Guerrero 211 to 104. 172 to 74 in the power punch department. So everything points to him. And Guerrero still has his congregation.
Oh, yeah.
Come up to the apron. Gloves on. Commission. Hi, G. Up to the damn commission. Yeah, do what's right for the fight. Good fight, man. Good fight, man. We here to do the fight. I was one of your fans forever. You're the toughest son of a gun, man. You are. Good fight. Let's take the gloves off. Get that ribbon. Good fight. Cut him off. Hell yeah. Hold him. Hold him back. Great job. Good stuff. Beautiful fight, Keith. And you did something nobody's ever done before. To a great fighter. I see why they call you one time, you said. Giving you mad drops. You'll be all right.
Night two for Keith Thurman.
No, I'm going to keep pushing this thing. Go ahead. We'll worry about those later. We'll worry about those later.
Las Vegas, you have just seen one of the most exciting welterweight bouts you will ever see. How about a big round of applause for these two valiant warriors? To the scorecards we go. Judge Adelaide Bird scores the bout 120 to 107. Judge Dave Moretti scores the bout 118-109. Judge Jerry Roth scores the bout 118 to 108. for the winner by unanimous decision and still undefeated, Keith one-time Thurman!
So Thurman keeps his title and makes a big statement about where he's going. And we're going to get a chance to hear from him. All right, let's hear from the winner now. Let's hear from the winner of this fight, Keith Thurman.
All right, thank you very much, Marv. One time and two times and three times, and it just kept going all night. What about this fight, Keith?
First off, I want to thank God, Embassy, Al Heyman, my sponsor, Kazane Sweepstakes. You know, the fans for coming out, baby. Thank you very much for supporting this event. But, you know, Robert Guerrero was a tremendous warrior. You know, he's known as the GOAT. He's a veteran, four-time world champion, and he showed it today, you know. He was a little more calm. I thought he was going to press harder in the beginning rounds. But, you know, we were able to knock him down late. I felt good. I know I was hurting him each and every round. I heard him breathing. But he's a veteran. He knew how to pace himself. He knew how to stay a little bit out of the range. This was a tremendous fight, and this was a great learning experience for Keith one-time Thurman.
It was a tremendous fight. Congratulations, Keith.
Thank you very much.
All right, huge effort tonight for both fighters. Thurman the winner. Let's go to Al.
Well, quite a performance for Keith Thurman. I make each of you guys his manager. Where do you go now?
You know what? The list is long and distinguished. What Keith Thurman did tonight was make his presence known to the world. He's not just a guy on the radar. He's not just a prospect. He's not just an up-and-coming pro. He's a legitimate threat in the division. And the numerous amounts of matchups you can make are incredible. You've got a Canelo, you've got a Cotto, you know, you've got a big name fight now. This guy really went out, he beat a guy who fought Floyd for the world title, he legitimately dominated him. It wasn't like it was a close fight. He really announced his presence to the world as a legitimate title threat.
The hard part would be getting fighters to actually step in the ring with this man after this dominant performance of a veteran fighter.
Stylistically, Danny, who would you like to see him fight next?
Stylistically, be hard to say. So many guys, so many talent in that division.
All right, we're going to get a chance
to
hear
thank
from
you,
Guerrero.
Al. Certainly very early
now.
in this year, but this is the fight of the year for right now. I mean, you guys tonight put on a show, Robert. What was this whole thing like fighting a guy like Thurman?
You know, first of all, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for giving me this opportunity. But you know, Thurman's a tough fighter. He came to fight, and now I know why they call him one time. I mean, he got a lot of power in both of his hands, explosive power. He's fast, and he did a great job. But hey, you know what? I came to fight, and you know what? I didn't win the fight, but I know I won the hearts of America.
How did you get back up? You've never been knocked out. He knocked you down. It looked like this fight is over to most of us. What spurs you on to keep going?
You know, I'm a fighter. He caught me with a good shot. You know, dazed me. I went down. You know, I could have got up quicker, but I took the 8 count just to be sure because he got, like I said, he got power. But you know what? I come to fight with heart, and I show people, hey, you know what? Keep on trucking through no matter what happens. And like I said, I came to win the. I didn't win the fight, but I came to win the hearts of America, and I think that's what I did today.
And the crowd acknowledges that. As far as Thurman himself, I don't want to ask you to compare one fighter to another. But what kind of fighter is Thurman with all the good fighters you've been in there against?
Oh, he's one of the best. You know, he came, he did his job, he moved, he stayed calm, he stuck to his game plan. He landed solid shots on me. You know, I take my hat off to him. You know, I'm not a hater, and like I said, you know what? I came and I fought my heart out, and that's what I do for the fans, and that's why I love them, because they always support no matter what.
Was there ever a time that you thought you would not be able to finish this fight?
Oh no, not at all. You know, I'm a Mexican American. I come with corazon. And nothing, you know, I'd rather go out on my back, asleep, than just not continue. So, you know, I always come through and I keep fighting my heart out. And that's what the fans love about me is I pour my heart and soul into this. And man, thank you guys for coming out and supporting me. And man, I just can't wait to get back in the ring and give America more beautiful fights like this.
You're going to rest up a little bit, I hope, after this.
Oh yeah, I'm going to go spend time with my beautiful family and my wife and kids. You know, that's what it's about. That's what I fight for. And man, you know what? I had a good time tonight.
Your dad is standing right here, Ruben, your trainer as well. We talked yesterday at the meeting that you all have a smooth working relationship. Was it any time hard, though, Ruben, at a time like this to be a father and then be also the trainer when you see what a tough fight your son's in?
Well, to me, my son's a champion. So to this day, he's still a champion, you know what? And he fought one of the toughest fighters. Good fighter, smart fighter, you know, and he was good on his feet, you know, and, you know, we just got to get back to work and, you know, try to catch whatever we can do.
You know, my dad knows how much heart I bring into this ring, you know, and he knows, he always asks me when I come back to the corner, how do I feel? And I tell him, hey, I feel great. Don't worry, Pops. I'm going to keep going. And, you know, that's why he knows that I'm going to stake it out and do what I got to do.
Heart, the operative word tonight. Congratulations on the effort.
Thank you very much, and God bless everybody out there.
Let's go back to Al Michaels.
All right, Dave Bontempo, Daniel Jacobs, the WBA middleweight champion. Well, you've seen the perspective of both of these guys. What did you think of Guerrero's post-fight analysis, the fact that he's been able to win people over? What do you think of him?
I think he's a tremendous champion, and he shows tremendous sportsmanship. And how could you not fall in love with a guy like that? He gives his all. Even though he came up short, that's all you can ask for, is somebody to give their all and still have the passion to be able to go in there and wear their pride on their back and say, you know what, the better man won tonight, but I gave it all for the fans, and I respect that guy.
Now, coming out of the Mayweather fight, you saw him fight here. Did the Mayweather fight take anything out of him? Do you think it made him any better in any other kind of way? How did that hit you?
I don't think it took out anything out of him physically, but I do think it made him a better person, a better fighter, as far as the experience that he gained with that. He wasn't able to put it on full display tonight, but the character that builds with fighting tremendous guys and coming up short. You know, most guys will get discouraged. Most guys wouldn't be a sportsman and say, you know what, the better man won. I'm happy with that as long as your fan enjoyed it. Most guys would be, you know, sourpuss about it. And the fact that he wasn't, you gotta love this guy because he wore he wore his back on his shield tonight, and he left with his pride.
And here's another angle, because you can see this from a unique perspective in overcoming cancer yourself. When you saw him put his career on hold for his wife, there is a real human element about what is going on when people are battling diseases like that.
Indeed, there is, and it's very heartfelt, especially coming from my situation. I know, but Robert the Growth Guerrero is a tremendous champion and a tremendous person.
All right, we're ready for Abner Morris and Arturo Reyes. There's Morris, 28-1-1 with 15 knockouts across since 2005. Reyes 18-4 with 5 knockouts. The Mexican Olympian in 2008.
Está bien, you know, de la cintura para arriba, tiene una play limpia, escúcheme, cuídate, listos, vámonos.
Now the difference between them, Morris has been a champion and Reyes has peaked at the level of trying to fight for the international titles. So that's where it's been. There's a one-level difference between them in terms of accomplishment. Now, if you're fighting someone, Daniel, with hasn't gotten past the continental level, how are you going to approach coming out against him?
Well, you got to give everything that you've earned and put it on full display tonight. Obviously, with him being an Olympian, he has that pedigree, that experience that he needs to go and battle a guy. He hasn't been the most successful pro, but he has the ability and he has the experience. So if he can put it on full display tonight, he might get the victory, but he's in tough.
The key is respect, lack of respect. Don't show him respect. You're outgunned, you're out-experienced. The only thing you can do there is go balls to the walls and get in the face and show him no respect. Make him second guess what he's doing.
Remind him that he's a level below. So that's the game plan for Abner. Now for Reyes, okay, you're taking the big step up against a guy who's been a champion. You haven't gotten past the international level. How do you come into this?
This is your shot. Take full advantage of it. Embrace the moment. Own the moment. Make this fight your fight. It's not Abner Maris's fight. It's your fight. It's not him who wants to get back in title contention. It's you who wants to get back in title contention. It's that mindset. It's that lack of respect. It's that this is my story and you're just in it. And that's the kind of way you got to fight. Does it mean you're going to win the fight? No. But I'll tell you what, that will keep your legs strong in the later rounds. That will make you fight when you start second-guessing yourself. That actually will prevent you from second-guessing yourself.
Now that's the blueprint for each of these guys coming in. Mars has been a champion, and then all of a sudden, that quick knockout loss to Johnny Gonzalez. He's had 2 wins since then, and it looks like they brought him back the right way.
Yeah, they absolutely have. They put him in there tonight with a guy who hasn't, you know, not much knockouts and not that much power to be able to oppose that much of a threat. But they get in there with a guy who still has that experience and can push him to go rounds and, you know, test him a little bit.
He's a respectable challenge, but it's a test that you should pass, but it's still a test.
Morris has been a 118-pound title holder at the featherweight division. And then he's sailing along and then stopped by Gonzalez and really wants to get back at him. Did score wins over Jose Ramirez. His last fight, trained by Nacho Beristain, who's had Oscar De La Hoya among others.
Beristain is probably one of the best Mexican trainers in the world today. Just watching Marquez, seeing the way he trains Marquez, seeing the combination, seeing the pure technical prowess behind everything he does. Phenomenal coach. He knows the sport. He knows the science behind the sport.
¿Entiendes? La vaselina. Hacia atrás con lateral. No me salgas en línea recta, ¿correcto?
Go, seconds out.
Second round action, Abner Mares and Arturo Reyes.
And that last round actually was a pretty close round. I give it to Reyes by the slight edge. So if he can continue this and continue to impose his will and have that, as Joey said, lack of respect, then he can possibly pull an upset. Or at least he's on the verge or on the right track to doing so.
Reyes isn't backing up at all. You know, Morris comes forward, puts a combination together. Reyes keeps his composure. He defends well, and he answers with punches of his own. He's busy on the offense and busy on the defense. On paper, this isn't starting off to be the landslide that it looks like when you compare the two fighters side by side.
It almost seems because Abner Morris is really sweating. He really doesn't seem to get into his rhythm as of yet. I wonder backstage did he get a nice warm-up because he's almost just as if he's cold, and he's
yeah.
not really warmed up properly. So it might take him a couple rounds to get into his rhythm.
But this could also be one of the cases where you've got two polished guys, one who's more polished, and he kind of has to engage you, get into your rhythm.
As I said, it's a knockdown because the gloves hit the canvas. That should be, and it is.
6, 7, 8. Venga,
How's that for cold?
The gloves just touched the canvas. Anything other than your feet touching the canvas is a knockdown. So now Morris might be saying to himself, that's not even my best shot. I score a knockdown with it. Let's see what kind of energy that gives him.
I'd like to see what it does to the morale of Reyes.
The left hook by Morris. Yeah, because the first thing you could think about is, hey, I'm doing everything right. Boom, now I've been knocked out.
Saying, hey, I can hang. I'm just as good as this guy. Look at me, I'm hanging with him right now. I'm landing my shots, boom, I'm on the floor.
Stop.
Reyes is stalking here, and
hands free.
Morris ties him up.
Manos libres.
Right under, big overhand right by Reyes. And Morris just sees it coming a mile away, steps back under. But you know what they say, if you make a miss, you make a pay. When you make a miss with a shot like that, you're in such good position, you gotta fire back right away. All right, here we go. Back in some action for this round. And there it is, the uppercut hook. It's the overhand. Clipped him behind the ear. Half of a slip. You saw he was stepping on the logo. A lot of times the logo gets wet and they slip. But he touched him behind the ear. That was enough to make the knees buckle. There with the slip coming, it led to the knockdown. If anything, the physical damage might not be a lot, but the psychological damage of the person who received the blow, Reyes' head, is, damn, I'm already outgunned, I'm in over my head, and now I'm down 3 points.
The first thing he did to me, and look.
Yeah, exactly.
How do I make up 3 points?
That's exactly what he's thinking. And a lot of times what happens, though, is when you get into that how do I make up, you also get reckless, you get sloppy. And when you get sloppy with the guy who's technically superior to you, you leave a lot of openings that usually that fighter will capitalize on.
You try to win 2 rounds at once. You try to get it all right now. But that's really the emotional aspect of the game that can't be put down on the sheets when you look at these guys.
Look at the guard of Abner when he gets going. His thumbs are nice and high to the temple, but look at that space. His elbows are wide. They're almost flaring. It seems like if Reyes can throw an overhand or even feint an overhand, open up that space, he can come up the middle with a nice uppercut.
But first, he has to get close enough to engage and take the chance, and now he's been back.
Exactly. That's where an overhand or a looping left will kind of create that opening, create a little more space up the middle for that uppercut.
Morris clips him with 2 left hands, good left hook to the body. And right now, Daniel, he's chopping him up.
Yeah, he's chopping him up, but I'm still impressed with the temperament of Reyes. He hasn't taken a step back, and even though he's being outclassed and outpointed, he still wants to come and he's still putting everything into this fight. He may not have the skill set, he may not have the power, he may not have it, but he has the will, and that's what's problem. Well, that's what he's hoping to get him victorious.
Yeah, there's no back down, there's no back up. You know, he's coming forward, regardless of what the records say. He sees a man in front of him, and he says, I'm a man myself, I can beat you.
He's a pro since 2009, losses to guys like Fernando Montiel, and in his last fights in Pee Wee Valleca. We mentioned that he just hasn't been able to get over the top. That's the interesting thing. When you look at studies and fighters and you see where they come from. Almost all of them, they'll hit a level. And they might make a big move to get to that level and they can't get over.
Absolutely. Sometimes fighters get at a standstill because sometimes it might be the level of opposition that they've been fighting. It gives them a false reality of who they actually are. or it's just they actually aren't really what they might think they are. You know, everyone can't be a Floyd Mayweather. Everyone can't be the top guys in the division.
Another thing of note, taking a look at his record, he's got 4 losses. 2 of those big losses came from fought outside of Mexico. The majority of his career has been spent in Mexico. He's never fought in the States. He fought in South Africa and Japan, and he lost both those fights. So his record tells us that every time he leaves Mexico, he doesn't fare well. This is not only the biggest country for boxing, but this is the biggest stage in boxing.
Minted heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder, who in this building back in January beat Thurman and captured the heavyweight championship. First American since Shannon Briggs to have a heavyweight championship. That was back many years ago. And this guy can be a bright light. Good personality. Attract a lot of things to him, and he looked very good in the fight with Thurman.
The question I think we're all wondering, are we going to see a Klitschko-Wilder fight?
We may. Klitschko is fighting in April. Will he run out of guys to fight? Will Wilder make the demand? Is he ready for Klitschko yet? Or I think he maybe takes a year on the American tour and enjoys the title, fight some guys, and then go after Klitschko. Maybe a year later, hope he's older. That's a fun question for the managers. Hey, we can speculate and handle their careers from here.
And if they're listening, the managers, they can go ahead and call us. We'll help advise them.
Here, Mares and Reyes. Mares trying to get back to a title shot. Mentioned he's had titles in 118. Going back 5 years. With Joseph Azteco. Want a rematch with him. You have guys like Anselmo Moreno, Ponce de Leon. And he was rolling until the Gonzalez fight. Now he's trying to work his way back up there. And we're seeing in him, Danny, a veteran's composure.
Absolutely. I want to see a little bit more from Abner Mares as far as his teammate, as far as pushing the fight back. I'm seeing it just a little bit.
No, stop.
His caliber against such an opponent as Reyes, I want to see just a tad bit more because it's a skill set difference, and it's not being really displayed on full tournament.
Is he treating this as a sparring session?
He seems a little bit complacent. You know, he seems to be okay with how the fight is going, and he's getting touched in between combinations, which shouldn't really be happening with a guy like Abner Mares. But what he should do, I don't think he's doing just yet. Maybe we'll see in the second portion of the fight.
Do you think it's complacement, or it's almost borderline tentative? Like you know how you get knocked out, and there's always that in the back of your head playing, so you kind of fight a little reserved, you kind of fight a little tentative, picking your shots. You don't open up with a little more reckless abandon like you might do in another fight.
I see that for the first fight back. This is his third fight. So now it's an interesting question. How long will that carry, that philosophy?
But for a lot of guys, you know, once that happens, that's in the back of their head, and they fight with it in the back of their head because they don't want to go through that again. So they go from an offensive, an attacking fighter to a cautious, precise, picking my shots, but nothing too risky because they don't want to end up in that situation again.
That's very true, and I agree with you. When I think the fact that he's so complacent with everything and the way things are going, it is the fact that I've been in a position before where, you know, I got stopped before, and in the back of my mind, in the first 2 fights I've come back, my game changed a little bit because it was a mental thing. It was playing in my mind whether or not I had chin issue, whether or not it would happen again. But it's all about your confidence, you know, because anybody can get hit.
Stop. Let him out.
And one of Daniel Jacobson's compatriots, Peter Kid Chocolate Quillen, champion in the same division as you. You are the WBA middleweight champion, and you guys both have fought at Barclays and to help with the resurgence of that property.
Yeah, well, hopefully we after we both get the victory in our next match, we can get it done at the Barclays. That's something I've been looking forward to for a very long time, and if we both can get the victory, it should happen.
How much talking has been going on between you guys for that?
Between us two, I mean, we're friends, you know. Yeah. But so it's no talk between us. Mostly just our management. But I think it's, you know, I think it's close to happening if we both can get the victory in our next fight.
You being a popular fighter and Will being an emotional fighter, sinking to his knees in tears the night he captured the middleweight championship. He's a charismatic figure, and that should be a very good one. Here, Abner Mars, former featherweight champion, trying to get back to that, stepping it up a little bit now. You get the sense he's got a certain type of groove that he knows. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit in here, step it up a little bit in these rounds.
He's definitely a rhythm fighter. He finds his rhythm, establishes pace. Look, he's got the range of the jab, touch, back to the body, stiff arm on your way out, back to the jab, pressure. You know, he's definitely a guy who builds the rhythm, finds the rhythm, finds his flow, and then creates opportunities and openings off.
Daniel, the point brought up about Mars being stopped, and you mentioning P-Rod, what stopped you, and it took a couple fights. What actually changed it, or how did you get back into that aggressive mode?
Just your confidence, you know, believing in yourself and believing that, you know what, it happens to the most of us, you know, and it doesn't take away from your skill set. It doesn't take away from the fighter that you are, but you just have to put that in the past, learn from it, and move on.
Is it a time thing? It is beating a certain type of a fighter thing? How does it actually finally go away?
To each his own, you know, it's according to that fighter. For me, it was a little bit quicker, but some fighters it may take longer. You know, it's all about that particular fighter and his confidence level in himself and his ability to move past that.
Is it also about getting back in that ring, you're in that ring, eating a couple shots, just saying, oh, whoa, I'm fine. This guy's got pop. My legs are under me. It didn't faze me. I can do this, and that kind of puts an end to those questions.
Absolutely. You know, you have to go through those things to believe in yourself. You know, whether it's in the gym or whether it's in an actual fight. You have to test yourself in that manner in which you feel like you're lacking or which you feel like you're not the best in order to get courage and to gain confidence again in yourself.
Stop. Let him up, let him up.
Say that halfway through. It's Mares in charge.
I'm Deontay Wilder. I'm from Tuscany, Alabama. I have a perfect record of 32.
Sixth round action. Abner Mares, Arturo Reyes. Mares 28-1-1, 15 knockouts, and former champion. Reyes 18-4.
Reyes, obviously, I think we all agree, down on the scorecards. But look at him. Nobody told him that. Look at his face, look at the pressure, look at the fight. He's coming forward, he's not blinking, he's not backing up. He's really not showing Abner any respect.
And from what I've seen, he's hurt Abner Mars maybe once or twice. He has the respect of Abner Mars, and I think he's losing rounds, but he's losing very close rounds.
Right. And again, the touching him and landing some power shots, that goes back to putting Mares in the shell, to making him tentative, to making him wait a little bit, to making him unwilling to open up with these punches because he has been touched, and every time he does get touched like that, he has that flashback of the KO.
Now the Reyes dilemma, he's only got 5 knockouts in 22 fights. And when you're trying to find some thunder and come from behind like that, that's not the spot you wanted to be in. That's just one of the realities here.
He's trying to find the thunder, but there's no storm clouds in his future.
Seems as if Abner Mars is picking up his punch combinations now. He's putting 1s and 2s together, up and down with the jab. He's looking very swift tonight.
I wouldn't mind seeing him commit more to that body, though. You know, he's gone upstairs to the 1-2 and he hits that left hook to the body. But let me see a 3-piece to the body. Let me see you step up at an angle and look for that solar plexus. You know, that investment to the body will pay off, pay dividends the further the fight goes on later in the rounds.
There was one hook by Mares, got into the body, right hand on top of that. A good body shot. Reyes emptying everything, trying to get to him.
So let me ask you guys, I got to speak with Abner yesterday after weigh-ins, and they said, you know, what's more important, winning the fights
or putting on exciting fights. And he said for him, it's winning the fans. The only way you win the fans by putting on exciting fights. Do you think he's winning the fans right now?
I think your question sounded good to him at the time. Sounds like a great idea. You know, I'm going to win the fights, too. You're right. I want that, Joey. And then you get out there, and it takes on a different rhythm.
But what a brilliant question, right? Let's be honest, just brilliant.
That's why it's called investigative journalism. Final seconds of round 6, and Morris gliding against Reyes.
I think I might have gave that last round to Reyes.
Yeah, I think he stole. I agree with you. And here we go, some more action from the last round. And there it is, the nice body shot. Reyes answers with an overhand, and boom, an overhand from Morris. And they're trading in that pocket. Look at Reyes, look at that. No respect shown, but Morris' defensive prowess, beautiful. Made him miss 3 or 4, came in the middle, and threw a jab crossing the zone.
Vamos al séptimo, necesito que estos 3 rounds los cierres fuerte, fuerte. Pero necesito que cierres fuerte, porque si no cerramos fuerte. Seconds out.
All right, we proceed along into round 7 of 10. Abner Morris and Arturo Reyes. Now, we talked about might have been gliding. You guys talked about Reyes winning a round. And these numbers indicate that Morris might be in a little tougher battle than he's showing here. 99 out of 403 for Morris, landed 89 of 328 for Reyes. Morris 74 to 73 in the power punch edge. So the numbers showing there's little difference, and what will be the determining factor for the judges is how hard they think the punches are.
I think the key factor will be the second portion of this fight. Who will take the initiative to take over?
Right.
Because it could be in anybody's hands. We don't know what the judges are looking for, what they're judging, and they might be in favor of Reyes. We might just be looking at a different perspective, but the fact that he's still coming forward, Reyes is, and the fact that he's still giving his all puts him in a great chance to win.
And that's one thing, too, is you hit the nail on the head. You never know what the judges are thinking. You could be dancing, slick stuff, moving, circling. The guy in front of you is pressing the action, pressing the action. The punch numbers might be even. You might even land a couple harder punches, but because the other guy was busy pressing you, stalking, staying forward, coming forward, sometimes judges have a tendency to give it to that guy.
It's called effective aggression.
And that's the question.
Right. And ring generalship.
A aggression and then the effective part, which is where the judgment of it comes in.
Right.
And then there are certain fighters who get a reputation that you might be coming at me, but I can make it look like I'm toying with you, a la Mayweather.
Right.
That even though they're backing up, they can look like they're in charge of the fight. But usually a counterpuncher doesn't have much of a chance to win because of that. Or he has to do much more because he has to be so much more accurate.
Laura Canelo. I thought Laura, you know, if you could reward someone on defenses, give him points for that, he was brilliant, you know. I didn't think he won that, but there was the controversy, but that's the case there. The guy makes a miss, makes a pay, slip, 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 counters versus the guy coming forward, non-stop aggression, putting combos together.
I think one of the safest things, though, is if you can get a gotcha somewhere in that round. Some shot that rocks the head back, and then that can sway a lot because that has a lot of power to it.
That can end up being almost like a tiebreaker. But I like Reyes, just, you know, I think he's losing, but I just like him coming forward, stopping, pressing the action, and not showing respect, grabbing him in a headlock, pushing him off. You know, that's the kind of fight you have to fight when you are outgunned, when you're technically inferior to your opponent.
Final seconds ticking away with Reyes coming forward and Morris trying to get it with a few shots without a nice left hook at the end of the round.
Look at the face of Reyes here. He doesn't look like a beaten fighter. He doesn't look like a broken fighter. He looks like someone thinks I'm in this fight and I can win this fight. And I like that out of him.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
I don't think he's winning, but I just like that attitude, that warrior spirit.
8th round action, yeah, and he's caught Reyes on a night where Reyes hasn't looked overly emotional in this bout, so that has helped Reyes as well. Now, as we're heading into the 8th round, Daniel, do you think that in this fight that Morris is fighting down to the level of the competition, or is it just a simple matter that he's in a different pace than he should?
I just think that he's in a different pace that he should be. Sometimes fighters fight at the level of their opposition, but I don't think that's the case tonight. I just think that he's just stuck in this tone that he can't seem to get out of. I'm used to normally seeing him put his punches together and move and use his legs. Unfortunately, he hasn't really used his legs and been a boxer that we're used to seeing.
You think he's coasting? You think he's in sparring mode?
I believe so. I believe he's in sparring mode. And sometimes it's kind of hard because you might leave it in the gym at times. You know, and it's important to how you train and how much you left in the gym to how much you can be able to come out here and fight like he did tonight.
And we talked about that in round 2, that it looked apparent that this could be the case tonight for him. And then he would throw in some situations where he'd open up a little bit, but he's letting Reyes feel very grit.
No, but did you see that? Reyes backed him off. Reyes sat down nicely. He ripped a hard right hand to the body. And Morris made a face. I don't know what that face was. I don't know if that was, oh, that was nasty or you ain't got nothing. I don't know what the face was, but he elicited a response with that right hook to the body.
And it doesn't seem to have any much, Morris, it doesn't seem to have emphasis behind it. It almost just seems as if he's just throwing his punches. You might see spurts here and there, but it's too far in.
It's more just touch, touch, touch. Almost like the amateur pitter-patter. They're just going to touch for score points.
And the point that can come out of all that is maybe for Morris after this, every fight better be a championship fight, because if you slip a little at this kind of level, maybe your intensity is not quite there, the urgency not quite there, as if major titles on the line. Sometimes the fight before title fight this level, hardest ones.
In the history of boxing, that's always been the case. The ones that you supposed to win to get the next title shot, sometimes guys aren't the best because they feel like it's almost set in stone that they're going to get these opportunities, and they don't get their best performance in the past conversions.
Seconds ticking away, round 8. Reyes coming at Morris.
I'll tell you what, this after Morris wouldn't beat Gonzalez in the ring. It's not the guy that's fighting tonight.
No, I agree with that. I think he might need to sit out and get a little bit of rest in between rounds because he's standing up. And that's what you do normally in sparring. You stand up, you go back to the corner, you talk to the team, but he just needs to sit down and rest those legs for a little bit.
Go, seconds out.
Abner Morris, Arturo Reyes, round 9. Morris 28, 1-1, 15 knockouts.
Here's what I'm talking about. You see this opening exchange? Abner Morris threw a double jab to the body, a double jab to the head, a jab to the body, stopped in front of him, and Reyes did nothing. It's at that point, touch, touch, go low, touch, and come up with a 3-piece, put some pop on it. It's that 4th or 5th punch that's going to land right there, and that's usually what he does. You're just not seeing that tonight.
Well, he's starting off Abner Morris is to a really good start. He's putting his combinations together, and he's using his legs, something I've been wanting to see the whole fight. He's really looking good, and hopefully he can keep it up because he only has 2 more rounds left. And with these judges, you never know what can happen.
You know, I'll tell you what, it's funny you said that because I had him coasting and winning, you know, but when I saw the numbers, the punch stat numbers, I'm like, man, the judges might be seeing a different fight than me. They might be seeing the kid come forward, weather everything, and land at everything he shows.
And it's a matter of interpreting those numbers, but for Morris, you don't even want it to get close enough for anybody to have to make a razor-thin judgment.
And that's the thing. This is the fight game. Anything can't happen. But that wasn't supposed to happen in this fight.
That's why it's called boxing. You know?
That's why they fight the fights.
Right. Stop. Stop. No. Come on, here we go. No, stop. Come on.
Tony Weeks will separate them. Back comes Morris to the body.
Stop.
Tie up by consent. Mutual.
In these exchanges, in the pocket, Morris is very physical. He does a good job of bullying, of using his shoulders, of getting in there. But after every punch combination he throws, Reyes answers right back with 2 or 3 pieces of his own, showing no respect. And
oh yeah, he wants to get those points back. He don't want to let the judges, who he in his mind he probably thinks favors Abner Morris. He doesn't want the ball to get into his court, where the judges say, you know what, this guy is looking good, these cool punches that he's finally put together, we're going to give him the round. So he doesn't want to let that go and that momentum go within that Abner Morris' favor.
I got a question for both of you guys in round 10, which we'll get right to. Here, coming to the end of round 9, good right hand by Morris. Pump weights.
His eyes, his teary eyes, he's now breathing deep, he's calm. Sipping water, listening, instructions from his
put them around.
Abner Morris as well looks the same, but there's a different look in his eyes. It's almost as if this isn't going as easy as it was supposed to. Like I'm in more of a fight than I had anticipated. I think he's winning. I haven't come around this one. I think he hasn't come to believe. The look on his face said that he's thinking to himself, I bit off more than I can chew, so I wasn't expecting this out of this guy.
Final round out the Morris, Arturo Reyes, Dave Bontempo, Joey Broner, WBA middleweight champion Daniel Jacobs. Now, both guys, with you, Daniel, we saw numbers close before, and Morris has probably opened that up a little bit. But how about the quality of the punches in this fight over the 9 rounds? Who has the edge?
As far as the quality of punches, to be honest with you, I give it to Reyes. I think Reyes has been the more powerful, precise puncher. Even though Morris has been landing really crisp shots, it hasn't been what I'm normally used to seeing, and I haven't been very effective. But, you know, once again, we can never see how these judges score the card, but as far as quality of punches, I would give it to Reyes. Even though Abner Morris is a sensation.
That's one good vote for Reyes. And now how about you, Joey, quality of punches?
I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum, but I agree with the point that Danny made. I think that Abner has landed the better quality, but because it's not the Abner we expected and not the performance we expected from Soto, it seems like his punches carry more weight because it's a surprise, because we didn't expect it. I still think Abner landed the better shot so far, but it's not a big margin. It's very close.
Right hand by Morris, and then Reyes comes forward.
But look who's backing up. He's throwing at Reyes, but Reyes is backing him up.
Reyes, we mentioned, a Mexican Olympian in 2008, won 2 of the matches, then turned pro in 2009, and just has not been able to get over that international continental level, which will get you into the rankings, win your belt. He's come very close, and that's been his level. Morris has been a champion, 118, 122, 126.
So Maris opens up. He throws 2, he throws 3. Who's backing up? Every time he throws something, Reyes backs up Maris.
I think Abner's experience is getting him through this fight. Because if Reyes had a little bit more skill or a little bit more experience, he's going to be able to dominate because of just his level of fighting. Just his will of fighting. And the fact that Abner is just sitting back and he's almost seems as if he's sparring. If this guy would have been a little bit better, a little bit stronger, a little bit faster,
he wouldn't have been picked for this assignment.
You know what? Actually, I think your advice there goes back to the advice you talked about in the previous fight. Adjustments. Had Reyes made these adjustments early on in the fight, it would be a different story. But because he has less experience, he's not used to making the quality, that level of adjustments that are needed to beat a guy like Abner.
Well, as this one heads to the final bell into the hands of the judges, March comes out of here. Reyes thinks he's got it. So someone's going to be disappointed and perhaps disillusioned. If Maris gets the win, that will have been 3 fights now since the Gonzalez fight. And with Fury's management, I think next time you have to put him in a championship fight.
Yeah, I think you do have to put him in a championship fight because it's only up from here. Especially if he gets the victory tonight. You can only go up. You can't fight another guy on this same opposition.
And you have to worry about getting a little sloppy in fights like this.
Here's my thought of the situation. If I'm his manager, which thank God I'm not, because I'd probably make bad decisions. But no, if I'm his manager, I think that this performance isn't enough to beat Gonzalez or Russell at that matter. Let's get him I don't want to say a gimme. Let's get him another polished fight, a more appropriate polished fight. Let's tune him up. We got time in between this fight and the next fight. So by the time he gets a tune-up fight, it'll be just after Gonzalez and Russell fight. It'll be enough time to take on that win. I think there's time in between for one more tune-up. Because this guy tonight, he's not beating any of those guys.
Well, the 205 to 165, the edge for Maris and punches landed 205 out of 768. Low percentage for him. 165 for 618 for Reyes. Maris a 143 to 133 power advantage. So not big numbers. Probably comfortable enough for Maris. As I'm looking at it, I'm in the camp of, I don't know if he gets up for fights like this all the time, so I think he has to be in title fights. That will be an interesting point for the managers to ponder, like what guy do we really have here on our hands?
Do you think this was really just a case of him fighting down to the competition?
Well, I thought that basically it's, hey, I'm the former champion, I'm going to get back there someday, and how much emotion and intensity do you pour into certain fights like this? Some guys can, and some guys can't.
Right.
Reyes was stout in coming after Maris, and he had a glimpse. He had a dream, Daniel, when he walked out. Hands raised.
Oh yeah, he believes he's the victor tonight. He definitely put in the work. We'll just have to see if it was enough.
Either way, victory or not, it's a performance he can hold his head high for.
And it's a performance that'll take his career into another big fight. Absolutely. And possibly even more fights and more money for it, because this is a young fighter that when you display skill and you display all, when you risk it all, you know, there's only up from here.
Absolutely. He did push the envelope.
But Sam, Reyes did impress me. Like I said, Reyes did impress me with his performance. I thought he didn't perform like a guy that thought he was outgunned. He didn't perform like a guy that was outclassed or in there with better competition.
Well, Maris had some edge in numbers, but not prohibitive. And remember that Reyes stalked off. He had the hands raised.
What was the power punch final?
143, 133. That was close.
10-punch difference. And it's something close like this. You know what makes a difference? A lot of times we talked about this. Who's backing up and who's coming forward? Every time Abner landed punches, it was him that backed up. Soto kept coming forward. That weighs a lot in the judges' hands. I still think Abner won. I'm just saying that, you know, he put on a performance that makes you think.
Well, let's see if Reyes realized his dream. He had an inkling when the fight was over, and Maris looked a little bit kind of not animated. He did have a slight edge in numbers. Reyes took the fight to him.
Las Vegas, how
Let's
about a
hear the
big round of applause for these two valiant warriors? To the scorecards we go. Judge Max DeLuca scores the bout 96-93. Judge Lisa Jumpa scores the bout 98-91. And Judge Glenn Trowbridge scores the bout 99-90 for the winner. By unanimous decision, Abner Mares.
So Abner Mares had to sweat it out a little bit with those numbers being 96-93, much more comfortable than he wanted. Reyes' dream for a second had a vision, it died away. Mares threw more, landed more, and he has it. 2 lopsided and 1 close. So we're going to get a chance to hear from him. Let's hear from him.
You know what, to be honest, I didn't like my performance. And I don't want to blame anyone. I had a tremendous camp, but today, I woke up under the weather. I don't know if you could tell. I woke up a little sick today and I wasn't feeling good. So I couldn't say no to the fight, it was already made. You know, there was a couple of rounds where I felt like, oh man, no more energy. But thank God, you know, he got me through it. Again, I had a tremendous camp. Reyes is a great fighter. He gave me hell. You know, he take a lot of punches, and he gave me a lot of punches. You know, this is what this was all about. You know, fighting 2 great fighters, fighting each other, and giving it all.
Well, you have no reason to make excuses. You did great. I fought with the flu before too, so I know how that is. Let's look at some highlights from your fight. Starting in round 3. Tell me what you're doing there.
I was trying to set up a nice uppercut hook. You know, it was my fault. He caught me with the overhand right because I didn't come back with the 3rd punch. You were supposed to finish with 3 punches. You know, as my coach taught me, but you know, I was ending with 1 or 2. A great body shot there. A great hook. I caught him with a lot of overhand rights. Again, you know, he's a tremendous fighter. He gave me a lot, a good punch to get down my face, and you know, great fight.
So you think if you didn't have the flu and you didn't feel under the weather, what do you think would have been mostly different tonight?
I think it would still been a good fight because this guy's a hard-nosed fighter. I know him from the Olympics. He's a guy that comes forward, gives his all, and gives a tough fight. But I think I would have controlled it a little bit more of the rounds. But you know, I got a little tired. But at the end of the day, it was a great fight.
Congratulations. Go rest up and feel better.
Thank you so much.
All right, so that was Abner Mares with Layla Ali. And let's take a look at the schedule. Out of the gates tonight, Andre Puerto and Lopez next week, Porter and Garcia. And then that title fight you guys were talking about, Gonzalez, Gary Russell Jr. on March 28th. And Donna Stevenson, Sakio Pika. That'll be a very good one in Quebec City. On April 4th, Stevenson, quite a sensation up in Canada. Danny Garcia, Lamont Peterson, and Kid Chocolate. Peter Quill on April 11, Chavez Fonfara, Figueroa Burns, May 9 in Hidalgo, Texas. Gonna be all over the place with these fights. Big audience around the world. Fights taking place in the United States and Canada, the early part of the schedule thus far. So it was a good night for the chalk. Favorites did well, but they were pushed in some cases. And Abner Mares will take a look at his fight with Arturo Reyes. Take a look at the action in this fight tonight. question for both of you guys is the performance of Abner Morris tonight. How would you rate it? Where would you take him to go from here?
I'm a big fan of Abner Morris, but I give him a B+ in this one. I didn't think he did enough to impress the fans tonight. He got the victory, yes, but I think he needs to do a little bit more or bring the dog out of him in his next fight, because fighting like this, he won't beat any top athletes in this division.
I agree 100% with the assessment, just not the grade. I had to give him a C, man. If he's really championing his cause to fight, to get that rematch with Gonzalez or Russell, whoever wins, he did not show me tonight that he deserves to be there and in there with those guys. He's got the tools, he's got the weapons, he just didn't show them tonight.
All right, so that was Abner Morris getting his B/C grade and coming up with a win. We also had Adrien Broner, the problem, John Molina Jr. And this was a spirited affair, and then we saw Broner turn into boxing mode.
Yeah, we did. He put on full display of his arsenals tonight, and he was aggressive. Surprisingly, he put on a great show, and he did what a lot of people didn't think he'd do, push him back, and got the victory in a unanimous, what I believe was a perfect performance.
Professor Jacobs gave him A?
I gave him A-.
All right.
Confirm 100% A- on this fight, but in this fight, Thurman Guerrero, there were no losers. Thurman, precise, precision, surgical with that right hand. He had laser focus. He tattooed the chin. He tattooed the eye of Guerrero. But what he couldn't tattoo was the heart and spirit of the ghost, Robert Guerrero, who wouldn't back down. He wouldn't stop coming. Ultimately, it was Keith Thurman who got the win. But I'll tell you what, the biggest winner of all in this fight was the fans.
Guerrero struggled getting up from that. A ton of heart. Thurman put it on him, and Guerrero showed why he's been a champion. A lot of grit and determination for him. Final thought on this one.
Great night of the fight. Guerrero always shows his heart. Impressed me. Thurman's the true prospect to keep your eyes on.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us tonight on the premiere of Premier Boxing Champions. It's been an excellent night. Keith Thurman gets the fight of the night for Joey Broner, Daniel Jacobs, and for John Norton. This is Dave Bontempo saying so long, thanks, and we'll see you next time.
The preceding has been a broadcast of Premier Boxing Champions. Thanks for watching.